You hand me a water. All right, guys. So glad to have you all with us this evening. We've got three dogs, two birds, and one lorry, and we got almost homesteading on already. But welcome. Thank you guys for coming. Tonight we have Teresa from Always Gardening and Prepping, Mama Owl, as she is called. She is on here, and welcome. Thank you for coming on tonight and spending the evening with us.
I am more than happy to be here. I'm honored. And hello, everybody. Hoot, hoot.
so, uh, let's just get on ahead and get this thing started. Um, for those that don't know, always gardening and prepping, they're not familiar with your channel. Kind of walk us through what you do on the homestead there, or your whatever you want to call it over at Always Gardening and
I,
Prepping.
I try to call it a homestead, it's a little bit of everything. I am a lifelong organic gardener. I know what organic should be costing, and yeah, it should be a whole lot cheaper. When I get a chance to, I hunt, I fish, I survivalist, I dehydrate, I'm a herbalist. There's many things that I do. Jill of all trades.
so, so kind of tell us what got you into doing the homesteading, the herbalist, and then kind of walk us through the journey of why you started a YouTube channel. Because I'm always interested in those two different things.
Okay. What started me out was my grandmother. Loved her to death. And of course, she's passed away for a long time, but she started teaching me how to garden at the age of 3. She'd walk me through, show me how to do things, how to pick the strawberries. You better pick the strawberries right. Don't mess with grandma's strawberries. And all the different flowers she had and the herbs she had. And as time went on, I kept learning more and more because I'm a firm believer learn something new every single day.
That's
Don't
right.
waste a day of your life, it's too precious.
Absolutely.
And I'm part of the Memphis Herb Society. Um, when our vehicle was running, I was volunteering at the herb garden, going to the herb society meetings. Um, I like healing myself and not taking other medications.
Right.
And too many people need to learn to quit calling things weeds because those so called weeds are your number one healers.
right.
And so many people don't realize stop poisoning, stop feeding the grass.
Right.
Grass is not that important. Too many people waste too much money on pretty yards of grass.
Yep.
And a lot of people kill the medicine in their yards and don't let it grow. And
That's true.
well, I don't like grass. I mow it and use it to mulch my garden with my plants with. But other than that, I care less about grass. It's good for animals, for for them to graze on. But other than that, no.
Right.
And the organic, I just prefer not to use pesticides of any kind. I want to be as natural as possible. And well, we ended up with a little 1 acre. We try to make it a paradise, but it's in the hood. We do what we can.
Right. I totally understand that.
I think that covered most of it, except why did I start a YouTube channel? For many years, people have been after me. Do a YouTube channel. People need to learn. I'm like, going, I don't have time for YouTube. I don't have time. I said, nobody would be interested in learning what I know. This went on since just about since YouTube started. And well, finally, a dear sister of mine up in Canada. told me I had better start a YouTube channel because people need to learn this stuff. And I bit the bullet a little over 2 years ago and started the YouTube channel.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. And you found out that people did want to know what you know, right?
Absolutely, yes, they do. Way more than I thought they did, and it's beautiful to see. It truly is, and I am blessed with one amazing what call YouTube family, the Owl family, and I couldn't ask for better people.
That's
I couldn't.
awesome. That's really awesome. Yeah. So I seen your last video there, where you had gotten a couple of those packages, and stuff.
Oh, the gift blessings.
Yes.
Yes, yes. The Owl family is absolutely amazing, and they bless me greatly. Uh, they shock me. They like to keep me in shock. I do believe.
That's a good thing, though. That's a really good thing. So,
Yeah.
you're gardening, you're doing some herbal work. You know, you can, right? I think I've
Oh
seen a couple of
yes,
canning videos and stuff like that. Um,
yes.
and so, you don't have any animals, or do you? Do you have animals?
I used to have chickens. I had 24
Okay.
until the neighborhood that I live in. People move a whole lot, and they'll turn their fighting pit bulls loose. I lost 24 beautiful chickens one night because of one or two, I don't know how many it was, pit bulls chewed through two chain link fences and chicken wire and the dog kennel because I had the chicken coop set up in the old fashioned chain link, dog kennels, the big
Right.
ones. They chewed through that, chewed through the plastic dog kennels, and just killed the chickens. Didn't eat them. It wasn't a bloody scene. They just killed them, killed every one.
Man.
Well, except for one. One kind of sort of survived. It was the rooster,
Right.
and his name was Bubba, but he lingered for 3 months. And thankfully, I couldn't put him down. But
Right.
he wasn't hurt. He was traumatized.
Right.
And well, he lingered for about 3 months and passed away. And I just can't. No, I'm not doing no animals that way again.
I understand that. I understand that. We just had one born just now. Let me
Well,
see.
these are trained to fight, and then when these people move, they just let them loose to
That
roam.
is,
It's
I don't know.
crazy.
I don't know what people's problems are anymore, right? They just
They
ain't got
don't
no.
care.
They ain't got. They don't care. They got no sense. There's a little ducky we just had.
Oh,
Just did hatch out. Just came out the shell.
oh, that
So
is
he's
too
got a little bit of
cute.
issues. We're gonna hand him off to mama. Let her take care of him and fix him up. But I'm interested in knowing what all what is your top go-to medicines that you have that we can make at our homes.
All of them,
All
believe
of
it or not, because I teach. I still have more medicinal tinctures to make, but I have a playlist that has probably starting around 40 different tinctures that you can make. But my top go-to tincture of all is usnea, and a lot of people don't realize there's a good chance it grows around you. Now it only grows up in trees.
them. Okay.
It's now it can. I have seen it. Now let me take that back. I have seen it grow kind of on a mossy rock or on a side of a barn before. I've seen it, but it's also known as old man's beard, and it's grayish, and it looks like kind of
Like
scraggly beard hair. Now it gets really long in the northwest, but here in the south we got the smaller version, but it's still just as good.
Is it? Does it kind of look
Tree.
like? Does
Hmm.
it kind of? Does it kind of look like Spanish moss?
In a way, yes, it does, but don't mistake and use Spanish moss because that's something completely different, different
Okay.
family. But yes, you can also find it after storms. It'll fall out of the trees. It can be still be attached to branches, or it'll just fall in little clumps on the ground, and you can harvest it that way.
Okay. And
But
it's called, what is it called?
Usnea,
Usnea.
Usnea.
Okay.
There's 7 kinds that grow in America.
Okay. And it, you say it probably grows everywhere or most
Pretty
everywhere?
much everywhere. Now it's usually its favorite place is where the air is cleaner. So in forested areas, you can find it in parks. You can find it in your neighborhood. You can find it. You just got to look for it.
Okay. And what is it good for?
Oh, it is the second top antibiotic, natural antibiotic.
Really?
Yes, I got rid. I made a tea. I got rid of my stomach bug with the Usnea and a couple of other. It's antibiotic, anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antiseptic, and yeah, I could keep going. Yeah,
Wow.
I have several videos in my tincture list that shows you not only how to harvest it, but how to make the tincture and everything.
That is crazy. That is like the best
Yeah,
thing I've ever heard of.
it's very important because I'll tell you, not only is it good for humans, I have healed sick chickens with it. You know how when chickens will, go to sneezing and
Yeah,
get
yep.
a little sick. I have made tea out of that, strained it, gave it to the chickens. They were fine. I have healed dogs with it, and I have healed cats with it, and humans.
That's some awesome stuff.
It
So
is.
can you only make a tincture with it, or can you make salve
You
with it, or
I haven't made a salve with it yet, but I have made tea with it. Now, I'm not going to lie, it's not the greatest tasting thing, but that's why you have honey.
right? Right. That
But it works wonders. It really does. It
is
does.
awesome. I might now I want to go out here and look for some. I'll be out there tonight
Yeah.
looking with it with a
Now I
headlamp on.
have there's one video in my tincture playlist it says harvesting and making Usnea tincture, and I show you what it all looks like.
Okay. I'm gonna check that out and then go look for some because I'm very interested in that now. I'm gonna tincture away because I mean you think well I mean wintertime's getting ready to come and just about everybody starts getting sick come September October,
Hmm.
and the flu starts flying around all of a sudden
The
the flu is
magical,
here.
the flu that disappeared and came back all of a sudden.
Thank you. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Flu is at an all-time low. COVID is on an all-time high. Yeah,
Yep.
and didn't hear nothing else about the flu, and then all of a sudden, oh, the flu's back. Whatever.
I'll
Yeah.
tell
What?
you what we done because there was no such thing as lockdown for me and Junior when all that went on because we
Right.
were helping everybody that we possibly could. We were taking the Usnea tincture and my elderberry tincture, and yeah, we never got sick.
That's
Never
awesome.
got sick, not
That's
once. And
see,
he was truck driving, and I was running errands and cooking for people.
that's awesome. I've been wanting to get an elderberry tree to grow here at the house.
Oh, love elderberries. That's my second favorite, and that's the second. No, yeah, that's the second important one is elderberry.
Okay. So, do you have elderberry down there around you? Uh,
Bukus,
Really? Because
bukus
there,
of
I don't,
elderberry.
I don't know of anywhere around me. So that's why I'm trying to get trees or get cuttings off of them.
Yep.
Because I've been looking for people who might have it locally and can maybe get some cuttings off of it and mailed to me. I would pay to have it mailed, but so if I get them up here and try to get cuttings started, so I can get them planted around here and
Well,
started.
if I get some cuttings started for you, I'll send you an email and let you know.
Right? I would appreciate it. I really
Because
would.
on our property, me and Junior, we laugh. We call them little groves We have a little grove of elderberry here, over here, over here, over there. We keep having little groves, and now we've got elderberry, and the birds don't get many elderberries. Now we responsibly harvest because the birds deserve medicine as well. Um, we harvest a little over half of our elderberries and let the birds have the ones that are really high up. And yeah, we have little elderberries coming up everywhere.
It's also good because the birds, not only do they use that for medicine, but they then plant more along the way.
Yeah,
So,
yes,
so
they
you get
do.
more groves.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And they also, elderberries will also spread by runners as well.
Okay. That's, I see, learning something else.
I mean, they
I've learned
don't go just absolutely wild, but they will spread on their own too.
that's really cool. See, learned two new things so far tonight.
I love helping people to grow. We grow together as we learn.
Right, absolutely. So dandelions, where's dandelions fit in on your, your favorite ones?
I use them too. Not only are they medicinal, but they're edible as well.
Right,
A lot of people. That's another plant I tell people harvest responsibly because the root is good to dig up for a coffee substitute and also to tincture as well. But you've got to remember, every one you dig up, that's one less dandelion that there's going to be
right.
that you're going to have around you. That's why you harvest responsibly. But yeah, it's good. Dandelion is wonderful if you have trouble with holding on to water. It's a diuretic. Coffee substitute. The the leaves are edible. You can take the flowers and make a medicinal tea out of. You can make wine out of. You can make jelly out of. And if you harvest the dandelions just right, when they're just starting to open and you get the green covering off of the base of it,
Right.
and you make your jelly, then it'll taste just like honey.
Okay. So don't let them get fully opened. You
They can fully open, but you want to make sure you get that little green part off the tip of it because that's the bitter part.
okay? All right. So I'd
But
see
yeah,
learn something
it's
else
very
new.
medicinal and edible as well.
So if you got a bunch of them, because every year I let slews of them go to seed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I let them go to seed and let them blow all over, and then then I'll cut
Yep,
grass, and get them down. Because I would rather have a yard full of dandelion than I would grass.
absolutely.
I
I,
hate grass. There
I hate
there's
grass.
two things that man made that is absolutely worthless. You know what that is?
Lawnmower.
Lawnmower and a razor.
Yep.
Right? And they're worthless. Okay, absolutely worthless. And
Yep.
so I would rather have dandelions growing everywhere. So I just let a bunch of them. I'll let all on the fence line go to seed, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll just go through there and with a blower, or I'll let the kids. I'll pick them for the kids and let them just go blow them all over the yard. Because, like I said, I'd rather have those growing than I would, the stupid grass. I literally
Now,
go through my yard planting buckwheat and rye.
oh yeah.
I mean, I just go through and sow a bunch of it and let it come up.
Now I'll warn you one thing to be careful when. Now it's not nothing to be scared of, but when you're blowing the dandelion, make sure you're not blowing it into the against the wind
Right.
because if they go up into your sinuses, you can get a nosebleed. It's not
Oh,
going to hurt
really?
you, but yeah, blow with the wind.
Okay. Learn something else new. I
Yep.
did not know that they'd give you a nosebleed. I
Hmm.
wonder why they do that.
I think it just because the seeds are kind of sharp, and I think
Well,
when they go up, it there's no
irritates
telling.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. So we got dandelion covered. We've covered elderberry. We covered the ooze. What is it called?
Usnea.
Ooznia. Okay. I didn't want to
Hmm.
say it wrong. So we've covered those. What else do you like to grow? Because I want to move into some of the things that we might know about, some of
All
the
right.
other herb stuff.
One thing to always remember: you have seasonal medicinals. You have your spring, your summer, your fall, and winter. There's always medicinals throughout the season. Spring, you do y'all have the purple dead nettle out in your yard?
Yes, and I got that.
Medicinal, very medicinal. Chickweed, very medicinal. And I could just keep going on. Trying to think of the other ones. Chickweed, purple dead nettle, dandelions.
Stinging
Um,
nettle.
I love stinging nettle. I cannot sing the praises of stinging nettle enough. Extremely not only medicinal but edible. And if you like pesto, stinging nettle makes the best pesto there is.
Okay, that's
And
that's interesting because
yeah, you can add stinging nettle into soups, into stews. I dry it for tea. It's extremely healthy for you.
that's
And
awesome.
a lot of people don't know the when you go to make the pesto, you don't have to cook the stinging nettle. Just put it carefully. Wear gloves and put them in to your food processor. The whirling of the food processor kills the sting. As soon as
Okay,
it hits hot water, it kills the sting. But a lot of people don't know also that sting is really good because if you have arthritis, I know it sounds weird, but you can go buy the stinging nettle plant and smack yourself wherever you're hurting, and it will take care of the pain for a little while. Now, you're going to be stinging for a bit. It's not that bad, but it will take care of the arthritis, especially if you got it in your hands.
okay. Well, what is in it that does? I
And
guess like
it's an acid, oxalic. I think it's
yep,
oxalic
yep.
acid. Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's very interesting.
But yeah,
So
another one. Now you have to treat her with great respect and know what you're doing. And I do have videos on them. Now everybody is scared to death of poke salad,
yeah,
pokeweed.
yeah, it's poisonous unless you boil it or something 3 times or
No,
something.
if you know how to do it, she is the strongest and natural antibiotic you will ever take.
What?
Yep, extremely strong. There's been way back in the day, right as a certain conglomerate of medicine companies, yeah, there was a lot of fear mongering, and that's why you don't have a whole lot of your old healers anymore because yeah, what they considered back then riding them on the railroad or
Right.
riding them down the rail, yeah, fear was taught massively. And yeah,
So
you
it's
can,
not poisonous then?
if you don't know what you're doing and you don't
Okay.
treat it with respect, yeah, it can make you very sick.
Right.
But pokeweed, the poke leaves, as long as you cook them and boil them 3 different times, that's some of the best spring greens there are. And they will cleanse out the nasty stuff from going through the winter and not doing a whole lot. It's what they call the spring tonic, one of the spring tonic greens. Absolutely delicious. I have videos on how to cook um, pokeweed leaves correctly. Now that's springtime when they start coming up. I even have a poke salad quiche recipe.
Okay.
And now the poke root I harvest. I don't need to harvest any for a while because I harvested one big root. I've got video on how to do that correctly. One drop for a week. After a week, you feeling okay? 2 drops. Best antibiotic you'll ever have. And it's an extremely strong antibiotic for women's health too, especially if they're having trouble with their breast.
Okay.
Uh, Breast cancer, mastitis, you name it. It's the best thing for it.
Okay. That's interesting. Very
Yep.
interesting.
There's a lot of things out there. There's a plant on this earth for everything.
Right. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So we've talked a little bit about the wild ones, and I'm sure you could go all day, right?
Yes.
Um, but let's hit on a couple of these ones that people are more familiar with that we see in the garden. So, what are some of your favorite ones to actually cultivate yourself? Well, I know you cultivate the wild ones too, but the ones that we know about, the garden
Oh, the
variety.
tame ones.
Yeah, the tame
The
ones.
culinary herbs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Most, just about all your culinary herbs are medicinal. The one that I'm having the most fun with now is my mother of thyme. It's just one variety of thyme. There is, I think it's, oh, I can't remember, 32, I think, different kind. No, I'm wrong. I think there's more. I've got to write up on it. Um, it's has took over completely a 50-gallon grow bag. One mother time plant.
Wow.
Yes. So far this year, now I planted her last year in the middle of the bag. She had the center part of the bag. Well, I've still got to rescue my sage out of the bag because she has just took over everything. So far this year, I have harvested two completely full 3-gallon grow bags off of her. And I know there's probably going to be at least two more harvests before the year's over.
That's
And that's
insane.
one plant.
Will it continue to grow or will it die
Yep,
off?
it'll continue to grow. It's a perennial.
Okay,
And she I have no doubt she's going to keep going.
that's
But
fun.
it's not only culinary. It's I have a video coming out tomorrow showing how to take, because she was in full bloom. I didn't harvest all the blooms because I wanted some left for the pollinators. But you can take the blooms and some of the sprigs of the thyme and make vinegar, infused vinegar with it. Now, that vinegar you can use for salad dressings, or if you take, some people take a tablespoon or a shot glass of vinegar a day. Why take plain vinegar?
Right,
Amp your vinegar up. And also, if you wanted to, you could take that thyme vinegar and use it as a basis for fire cider. Because I love making fire cider.
right.
That works wonders too.
That's
And rosemary, amazing culinary herb, medicinal. It's good
what's it
for
good for?
infections in your body and in your lungs and your digestive system. Wonderful hair rinse for your hair. It can stimulate hair growth just like horsetail reed can.
He's put some
Yep,
on
good for
beard.
beards. It can
Yeah,
be good for beards. Um, then there's, of course, basil. There's all kinds of basil. They're all medicinal.
I
There's
have I have
oregano.
Genovese and lettuce leaf basil growing.
Those are really good. Have
Okay,
you tried Tulsi yet?
no,
Holy basil.
uh-uh.
Do holy basil next year, or if you can get it this year, you still got time.
Okay,
That is not only an amazing medicinal, it tastes wonderful. It makes wonderful tea. It doesn't taste like regular basil. There's seven different holy basils, and they each taste different.
really?
There's one that tastes kind of like Fruit Loops.
What?
Yeah, it
That's
makes a
cool.
wonderful tea. It makes a wonderful tea,
Yeah, I'd
and
like
it's
some of that.
very medicinal. Let's see, dill is medicinal. Dill's good for upset stomachs.
That's good to know. How do you keep deal? Um, I mean,
I
do you?
just I dry it.
Okay,
I
and then
dry it, or I make infused vinegar.
okay, because I got a lot of dill out there that will be harvesting this year. So, and I've never grown herbs before
Hmm.
until this year. This year I started growing that stuff, and and I'm kind of like, okay, well, let's see, because I used to be, if I couldn't eat it, you know,
Yeah.
cucumbers, tomatoes, whatever, it was of no good to me, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I'll just go to the store and buy all this crushed up, dried stuff, and why give
Yeah.
space to it to grow out in my garden, right? And as I've gotten older, I said, you know what? I need to grow this stuff. Why? I mean,
Yes.
I need this stuff. So
Especially if you make pickles, grow your own dill. Now, a lot of the spices that you buy in the store is getting a little dangerous to buy because you don't know what they're actually putting on it.
right.
And there's been some mixes found to have lead in them.
Oh my
No,
goodness.
thank you.
No, yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely no. I had enough of that when I chewed the less base paint off the windowsill.
Oh my gracious.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, dill. If your dill comes in before your cucumbers do, make infused dill vinegar. So when you go to make your pickles, you can take the dill out of the vinegar, put them in your jars, and use that vinegar to replace the vinegar that you have to in your dill pickles.
that's awesome.
Yep,
Um, so what about cilantro? Is cilantro? Do you use anything? Is cilantro good for you, or is it just good to eat?
it's good for you. It's really good for your digestion. Now, here's the thing about that: you either love it or you hate it. It depends on a gene that you have inside. It's Some people think it tastes like soap.
I love it.
It's a natural thing because people have that gene that goes against cilantro. Me, I like it in small doses. Most people want to overload on the cilantro and add it to recipes so much that you don't taste nothing but the cilantro. No.
I like making pico de gallo
Yep.
and putting that in there. And I'm telling you, I love the smell of it. I love the taste of it. The cilantro to me is just I could just sit there and smell it all day long. And it
Hmm.
smells wonderful. My problem is it don't matter if I try to grow it in the early part of the year or the late part of the year or the middle of the year, it will bolt like that every
Yeah.
time on me. I've not figured out a good place or a good way to grow it. You got
All
any
right.
any suggestions?
Cool weather. Cool weather only. Because the minute it warms up, she's going to bolt.
Okay.
Cilantro is very temperamental. Now, there's a cousin to it that you might want to try. It kind of has the same flavor. It's called culantro. And that might grow better for you. But
Okay.
cilantro, no heat. No heat whatsoever. I mean, no freezing temps.
Right.
But once it gets over 70, she's going to bolt. She's going to bolt. She's just ornery.
Yeah. Very, very. Because I
Yep.
I have spent 3 years trying to grow. I can't even get to grow inside. And there's not much that I can't get to grow inside, but I can't even get that to grow in here.
Might be too warm in your house for it. It
My,
is. It can be. It can be a pain to grow.
yeah, again, I bought the slow bolt thinking, well, it's slow bolting. I'll be
No.
okay. No, no, it still bolts just as fast, I think.
Yep.
So,
Now
but
you know when the save the seeds when it goes to bolt because that's another seasoning and it just slipped my mind. Um, you Coriander, I think it is.
yeah,
But
coriander,
the seeds, yeah.
yeah, is the seeds.
Once it bolts, let it bolt, let it go to seed, save all them seeds because you got another whole different spice right there.
Okay. Now, what can you do with coriander? I mean, I have some up there. My wife
Pickles,
knows.
pickles, you can, of course, let it dry. Don't let it dry on the plant. Let that kind of get brown and then take it in and let it finish drying. But you could powder it up. You could leave it whole in pickles. There's some bread recipes. There's sauce recipe. There's all kinds of things you can do with it.
Okay. Can you make a medicine out of it?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. It's good for stomach irritations, inflammation, so many other things.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So we went over, rosemary and some of the coriander now, the cilantro, and the one before that we went. What was it? Time.
Time, mother time.
Time.
Yep.
So what other ones do you like? Do you encourage people to grow? You know that they can go find the seed at the stores. What about fennel?
Fennel, all right, it's a love hate relationship between me and fennel. I do not like licorice, not whatsoever. I
Right.
do not. I cannot stand licorice.
That's funny.
Now, I do grow fennel when I get a chance to because it is good for what is it, tiger swallowtail caterpillars and monarch caterpillars and so on. It's a host plant. So, yeah, I'll grow that so the caterpillars can eat it.
Okay.
But a
So
beautiful stand, a bronze fennel,
that's what I
is
have.
beautiful. Absolutely beautiful when it dances in the wind and you get to see the little cat. Now, it don't look beautiful once the caterpillars come, but it keeps the caterpillars away from your dill and they'll go to the fennel and everything. But yeah, now there's a lot of recipes for the bulbing fennel. I just can't do it. I just can't do it.
Does bulbing fennel taste like bronze fennel?
The bulbing is the big fennel. It grows the big
Right.
head.
Does I,
It's just like bronze fennel, but it's green, and of
okay.
course the bulb is going to be white.
Right. Cause see, I got bronze out there, and it's grown. This is the second year it's came up there,
Hmm.
um, but it didn't grow a bulb yet.
No, they won't.
Yeah.
They don't.
So I went and
You
got the
use
other fennel.
stems. Hmm.
Yep, I went and got the other fennel though, the bulbing fennel,
Yep.
and I've seen a lot of people using it to make stuff with. And I was just, does the bulb taste like the bronze fennel though? Does it taste licorice like?
It tastes just like licorice.
Okay, all right. Because see, I like going out there and grabbing a handful of it and chucking it in my mouth and walking home. You know,
Now
I don't mind it.
you can also take the stems and the pretty foliage, the fern like foliage, make tea with it if you have upset stomach, uh, indigestion, so on. It's wonderful.
Okay, that's awesome. Um, Another one that I'm growing is blue and white borage.
Borage is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, it tastes like cucumbers.
Yes, it does. I had
Yes.
my dad over here last week. I think he was. He was over here, and he was like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Is that edible too?" And I said, "Yep." You know, so because I finally have talked to my dad. He's 72, I think, maybe 73. He's getting up there, but anyhow, because he's got a lot of health problems, and I
Hmm.
finally talked him in to, because I've been begging him. I said, Dad, if it's purple, you need to be eating it.
Yes.
I was like, it's
Yes.
got anthocyanins in it. You need to eat this to fight the cancers that you got, and and
Hmm.
help yourself out. And so I've been pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. He came over here, and I'd given him a bunch of beets, and then we were walking around the yard, and his girlfriend is or fiance, I mean, is pretty into health stuff, So
Hmm.
we were looking, and I was like, "Y'all want some of this Swiss chard?" And they were like, Dad was like, "I don't know. You want some of it?" And she was like, "Yeah, give us some." So I loaded them up with Volk.
Swiss chard's good.
Oh, it's awesome. And we're standing there, and he's looking over at that, and he was like, "Is this plant?" Either he or she, one of the two, said, "Is this plant edible?" And they were talking about my blue boars, and because I'd just given them fennel.
Hmm.
And I was like, "Yeah, it tastes like cucumbers." So I started pulling blooms off and giving it to him. And anyways, Dad had went home, and he was like, he called me the next day, and he said, we ate that Swiss chard last night, and that stuff was really, really good. I'm gonna have. I said, "You see, I told you, you've been needing to plant it." He was like, "Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to go get some seeds. Is it too late to plant it now?" Nope. Plant it. It'll grow here.
Yep.
If it don't get really cold, it will grow all winter long here.
Yeah, it will.
I had it. I had it growing all. I mean, I had plants out there where they were working upon 2 years. They was getting ready to
Hmm.
turn. They were over a year old. They were working on their second year.
Yeah.
And whenever that big cold snap happened back in December, they got
Hmm.
in the negatives here. It killed them off. But before that, they were fine, and it'd been like a couple of days. We're in the teens and 20s, and they were
Hmm.
fine, growing just fine. Didn't ever cover them or anything, and but that real bad cold snap killed them.
Yeah,
So
we got to we got to -20 here.
that is
That killed every one of my rosemary plants. I had 22 rosemary plants.
wow.
Every one died. Now, the year before, what was it? The year before we had what was called snowpocalypse.
Right.
They survived -16 perfectly fine.
That's
Negative
wow.
20, they just said nope, I'm done,
Right.
and they died on me.
That's
But now another thing with the borage, it might sound weird. Take a cracker, smear a little cream cheese on it, put one of those borage leaves on it. It's wonderful.
that sounds really cool. I'm gonna try that out. I love going out there. I'll just start picking them and eating a few
Yep.
of them because we don't have cucumbers growing yet. I have. It's been such a horrible year that I ain't even started cucumbers yet. So I've got to put up our trellis tomorrow and start some cucumbers and get them going so we can have.
Don't worry, you're not alone.
Oh, I'm
You're not
glad.
alone.
But I do want to make some jelly out of that blue borage too and see
Hmm.
what it does. Now, do you eat sunflowers, sunflower heads,
Yes.
any of that?
Yep. You can eat them. You can also eat the stalks as well.
Really, the
Yep.
stalk? I did not
Hmm.
know that.
Yep. They're
So
edible.
how do you
You
how
can
do you,
take the heads. Now, be honest, I've only done it once because, well, I'm more of a stickler for the seeds out of the sunflowers.
right?
But if you take those heads while they're still good and young and just blooming, drizzle them with olive oil, season them, and bake them in the oven, they're wonderful.
Awesome.
But me, I prefer waiting for the seeds.
Yeah,
Well,
I like my seeds. I like my seeds. So how do you eat the stalk?
you cut it up and cook it like soup. Put it
Oh,
in
really?
soups and stuff. Yeah. Now,
Do you have
as long as it's not dried out and dead, it's young. It don't have to be real short. It can be tall, 5 6 foot. But yeah, cut that up and boil it in soup.
That's awesome. That is
Hmm.
awesome. So what other I already mentioned those two other ones that I had to fin on the boards, but what other ones are you growing that people can find at the store and buy the other herbs?
Oh, let me think here because a lot of ginger. I grow ginger. I've got turmeric going. I have cardamom. Now, the cardamom might be a little harder to find because yeah, I kind of bought all the plants. I went to a plant swap. We have plant swaps and plant sales here around the city,
Right.
and I had went to volunteer to help out my friend who's in charge of the herb garden at the botanic garden, and well, I went to the seed swap where they had the plant sale as well, and it was at the end of the swap, and they threw all the plants on sale, and they had just I got I think it was 8 or 9 cardamom plants.
And what
Some
is
of them
that?
were in little pots, some were in giant pots.
Okay.
And I asked the lady how much are they, and she said 250. I said every pot. She said yes, ma'am. I said I want them all.
Right. Yeah,
She
absolutely.
just turned ghost on me. You want all of them? I said yes, ma'am. That's exactly what I said. At 250 a pot, I want all of them because there's 5 of the pots are worth more than the 250.
Right.
Not just the plants, but the pots alone is worth
Right.
more than 250. But yeah, so once they flower, I'll be able to, when they flower and go to seed, I'll be able to harvest cardamom.
What is that?
It is an amazing, amazing spice. A lot of Swedish cooking uses it. It's used for a lot of baking, dessert dishes, some pickling, canning, um, breads, you name it. It's amazing.
I'm
I
gonna have to
love
look into
cardamom.
that. I'm gonna have to look in it because I use a lot. I use a lot of mustard. I use a
Yep.
lot of oh goodness, turmeric. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I use a
Turmeric.
lot of,
Yep.
yeah, a lot of that, um, and a lot of what's it called? Tarragon, is that one?
Tarragon.
Tarragon,
Now
yeah.
that one you can grow, but it's finicky.
Okay,
I usually don't grow tarragon because it can be a pain in the south to grow. Texas tarragon, which is it tastes almost the same as tarragon, but grows so much easier. If I have time, I do the Texas tarragon, which
okay,
is kind of in the marigold family in a way. And but yeah, ginger is easy to grow. Turmeric is easy to grow, but there's a trick to it. Go to I go to Asian market to get mine.
right.
Don't buy them in the plastic trays that's got the cellophane on it. No, they're not going to sprout for you. You don't want them to have any refrigeration at all on them.
Okay,
Usually they'll have them out in big bins, and just pay attention. Look at them. You'll see where there's possibility of where sprouts will come out of.
kind of like eyes on a potato.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, in a way. Yep, you just look for that and you just set them aside and just let them do their thing. I forgot mine and they were in the trunk and
like this. Just let
yeah,
them sit there and do that.
it won't get quite like that, but
Right.
they'll start growing little white nubs and
Okay.
you'll know that they're ready to be planted.
That sweet potato was a 3 pound something sweet potato, and it sucked all the nutrients out of it and started growing all these shoots. I need to get them put in water and
No,
okay,
don't. I'm telling you, don't put them in water. Just put that sweet potato in some dirt.
okay,
Put it in a pot so
right,
you can contain it. Put it
right,
in a pot. Put some dirt over it. Don't cover the shoots too much. Let them get some good, healthy leaves, and go down in the soil and pop those. Let them get
off.
some roots on them and pop those slips off of them and plant them.
Okay. I wonder if there's enough time. I think 80 days to 110 days is 80.
90, it depends on the sweet potato. There's some early
Right.
ones, but usually it goes 90 to 120 days.
Okay.
90, you should have sweet taters.
I think I might have enough time to get a few of them out.
If
I
I
might
got time, you should have time.
I might plant them in the greenhouse. Then I
Yep.
know I'll have time.
Just make sure that they do not dry out or get
Okay.
overheated. You
Okay.
got a shade cloth over it,
Yep.
they'll
Yep.
do fine. They'll do
Yeah, there's a
fine. Just
shade cloth in there. It still gets up to about 110 in there though.
leave it ventilated and
Yeah,
they'll do
I leave the
fine.
front door open
Yep.
on it all day. Yeah.
Yep. They'll do fine. Just I grow mine in hay or straw bales.
Okay.
And that's the most beautiful sweet potatoes you ever see. And they
Really?
come out clean.
Really?
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to try that out. I seen where one guy did a study on growing potatoes, not sweet potatoes, regular potatoes,
Hmm.
in straw versus the ground,
Yep.
and he didn't do very well in the straw. Would you know
Hmm.
why he didn't do very well?
He might not have fertilized that straw enough. Because
Okay,
I go through a 10-day process for this year I'm doing hay bales because, well, a certain company lost their mind and I wasn't going to pay $15 a bale for straw.
right,
So I'm using hay this time. But what I do is I have special built beds out of recycled material I built myself, and each bed holds six bales on their side because you want to keep the string on the sides.
right,
And what I do is I go through the first day, I fertilize real heavy. I use chicken manure, I bounce back and forth. Chicken manure, it's all organic. Horse manure, I use fish emulsions, Epsom salt, a lot of bone meal because you're going for tubers.
right.
They need bone meal. All right, and then I'll water that in really good. Second day, water the bales only. Um, Third day, you just keep going. You alternate the days.
Right.
After the 10th day, those bales are getting hot because they're breaking down. All that nutrients is in them and everything. You let them rest.
Okay.
And you can tell when some people use thermometers to check the temps. I
Right.
just stick my hand down in there. You can tell once they have cooled down, they still need to be kind of warm, but not blazing. And once they cool down, it's ready to plant. And them sweet potatoes go crazy.
I might have to try that out. That
Hmm
sounds
I've
good.
got I got videos on that dedicated just to growing sweet potatoes.
That sounds like fun. Sounds like a
But
lot of
yeah,
fun.
you got to look for like Carol said, make sure they have not been sprayed with Grazon.
Right.
Will kill not only anything you plant in it, but you're going to have to dig up all the soil and everything underneath it because it
Right.
will poison your soil, and anything that tries to grow in it will die for 3 years.
I I did a video on Grazon last year at the beginning
It's
of the
evil.
year. Yeah, it is very, very bad. In fact, where I went today to buy my sand to grow my
Hmm
pumpkins on, um, we had already got some. I was at Lowe's. I was in a hurry. I needed something to throw in these grow bags, so I bought me some.
hmm
Yeah, it's compost manure, but it's I'm trying to think of the name of the company. Um, anyways, I bought this stuff from this company, but I had to I made sure where it was made at and stuff before I'd bought it. I'd researched that stuff. But while we were at the Garden Pro, it's by Harvest is
hmm
what I got. And it's supposed to be some pretty good stuff, and it was pretty cheap. And like I said, I was in a hurry, needed to find something to put in these bins because I wanted to get it up for Smart Pot and start to
hmm
grow in it. And anyway, spent $94 on 24 bags of this stuff. I get there to get my sand from the this local company here, and he looks in the back and says, "Well, why'd you buy that SH crap for?" He says, and I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "I had compost." I said, "Well, I didn't know you had compost." I said, "If I'd have known you had compost, I'd have got it off you." And he said, "Yeah, we're charging $50 a bucket." And when I say bucket, I mean
Yeah.
he put a bucket full of sand on my truck and weighed 1,400 pounds, right? And I because this is what he told me. He said, "I'm gonna put 800 to 900 pounds on the back of there, right?" Because I had all the compost up in the
hmm
front by the bed. He said, "I'll put about 800 to 900 pounds in there." I said, "Okay, fine." We pull up on the scale. I zero it out. He comes. He's dumping. All right. And I just keep telling him to dump the bucket because I'm thinking he knows what he's doing. He runs it all the time. He knows what 800 to 900 pounds of sand looks like in a
Do I
bucket.
know?
Right. So I keep telling him to dump. I go over and he dumped the whole bucket in. So I go over and I look at the scale because I'm thinking it's going to be 800 to 900 pounds. I look, it's 1420. And I'm
Whew.
thinking, that's a half-ton truck. And I've got compost in the front and I got 1,420 pounds on the rear. I'm like, just drive slow, honey. Just drive slow.
I'm gonna
So,
blow a rear end out on that
right.
truck.
Yeah. So, anyhow, yeah. But he said he was selling those compost, the same bucket
Hmm
of compost for $50. And I said, well, if I'd have known that, I could have got the truck filled
Yep.
twice with that compost, and I paid $94 for it. And I said, "Are you going to carry it year round?" I was like, "Because I'll need it year round." He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Then I'll be back to buy some." You know, but that's the thing. That's on me. That's my fault. I should have thought to look into it more. But around here, compost comes but once a year. That's
Yep.
that's just how it is. You get compost. All these local guys will have compost, and once it's gone, it's gone. And then you're out
hmm
trying to figure out where to get it from, and the only place to get stuff like that is at the store.
Yep.
And so now that I know that he'll have it year round, it's coming out of Pennsylvania. But that was the first question I asked: do you know if it has graze on? Are the
Mhm.
cows that is making that compost being fed hay that has been sprayed with graze on? He said no. I said, how do you know? He said, because I got it at my house and I'm growing beans in it, the biggest beans I've ever seen. I'm
Good.
growing this and that in it. He was like, if it was sprayed with Graze on and they were eating it and it'd been put in there, I'd know it. And I was like,
Yep.
okay. He was like, reason why it ain't sprayed with it is because it come from the Amish.
Right.
Good
Yep.
enough for me, you know.
But yeah,
So
people don't realize that graze on it goes through the cattle and everything. And you got to think, what are we eating?
right, absolutely,
And it goes through cattle, the goats, whatever's fed the hay or is on that pasture. And the people that I got my hay bales from, they were wonderful people. I panicked when I saw $15 a bale for straw. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna be hay baling this year.
right,
The people told me, do not worry, our fields are organic. We haven't sprayed. She said they are grazon free and will always be. And I told her, I said, now, and they sold me, and this was ryegrass and fescue mix, so it's good.
right.
Uh, they told me, I told them, I said, as long as my sweet potatoes do good in it, you're gonna have a perpetual customer. I will be a return customer because not only they didn't charge me for the delivery at all,
Well, that's
and they
awesome.
came from a county over or up above me. It was a good 40-minute drive at least, and didn't charge me, wouldn't let me help unload the truck. So, and they come in a little S10 with 24 bales of hay on it.
Good night.
It was great. I love little S10s. I can't help it. It
Right.
was a long wheelbase, and they unloaded that hay and everything. And I think it was, what was it, $5 a bale?
something like that.
Yeah, $5 a bale for organic.
That is very
Mhm.
cheap, very very cheap. Because
And
you
I jumped
you
on
would
it.
you would pay $15 to $20 around
Yep.
here for a bale of it that would have been organic.
It's
You
getting
know.
it's getting crazy, but the reason why I know hay or straw bales are so expensive here now because, well, when that -20 came, a lot of the winter wheat died out. It could not take that -20.
Right. Well, we were talking about something earlier, and I thought it was interesting because you had mentioned organic shouldn't cost that much.
Yep.
So I kind of wanted to talk about that for a minute because everywhere you go, organic is pushed. There's going to be some who are going to say, well, nothing is truly organic because there's still stuff in the air that they spray daily.
Hmm.
There's still stuff, residual stuff in the ground. There's still this, there's still that. There's ways that it's that, if you're feeding your feed this, your animals this stuff, not graze on the side, but other things, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And you put that manure on there, nobody is truly organic. And those who say they are, there's people who would say, well, you're fooling yourself. And there's people who, like me, would say, okay, you beat me, you win, right? But I'm still going to do the best I can with what I got to be as organic as I can be, and
Hmm.
and stuff. But everywhere you go, everywhere you look, the price of organic is high. I here in West Virginia am part of the Farmer Veterans Coalition and the Homegrown by Heroes. And
Hmm.
I have these little stickers I can put on any of my produce, any of my products that I make
Hmm.
from my produce, or even my chickens, cow, or no, I ain't got cows yet, but
Yep,
chickens,
they're
goats,
coming
pigs.
eventually.
Right. They'll come eventually. And, but, so with all that, I can put these little stickers on there. The organic ones are the ones that people are going to want to probably see and buy, and the
Hmm.
ones that most people are going to say cost more. Uh, uh, you know, um, but you say it shouldn't cost that much.
Hmm.
Why shouldn't it cost that
Here's the
much?
reason. One, growing organic, you're not using all these pesticides. So one, you cut cost on pesticides. Two, you don't have to pay for the middleman, the pesticide man that likes to come knocking and going, "Hey, I've got this wonderful chemical, blah blah blah." So he's not getting paid. You're not paying the for the pesticides and everything, and you're paying for your seeds only unless you're saving your seeds, and everybody should be saving their own
Absolutely.
seeds.
Absolutely.
So, what's causing organic to be so expensive is you got government in
Right.
there. You got to file all these forms. You got to prove, keep sending in samples. Well, that ain't none of their business. But you got to pay for the seal to be organic. And they charge these poor organic people to death. And that's why organic food is so expensive now. There is no way that non organic food can possibly be as cheap as it is because they're spraying it with what Roundup and all this other stuff. That's not cheap.
No.
That's not cheap. And yeah, when an organic bell pepper costs you $2 and one that's just saturated with poison costs you 85 cents or so, no, there's no way that produce there is ever going to be cheaper than organic because yeah.
Right. Right. And I agree with that. I mean, that is a very logical way to look at it that makes
Hmm.
sense of why it shouldn't cost that much.
Hmm.
And so basically, if we think about this, the reason why it costs more is they encourage you to buy it, but then they discourage you to buy it
To
through the
grow it.
price.
Hmm.
So you're still left with buying their poison.
Hmm.
Even though they say, we want you to buy it, we want you to go organic, we want you to grow this, we want you to do that way, they're really not wanting you to. And so
No,
it's just guilty by making this happen, making it work this way, right? I mean, I guess if more people would look at it like that and say, okay, well, now I understand. It's just a gimmick. It is a way to make me buy their stuff, because if they were coming in at 50 cents, right,
hmm,
for a bell pepper versus I would go for it. Or even if they were the same price,
yep,
we would still buy the organic one over that.
yep.
So
The problem is with the organic, there is too much, and I like to call them gooberment. There's too much gooberment red tape.
mhm,
An organic farm has to prove for 2 years that it's organic.
right,
There is so many hoops
there
and
is.
hurdles and government paperwork and people who have to come out and inspect. And why doesn't this stuff happen to all this other junk food that's
Right.
being sprayed by with poison? They don't do it. They don't have to.
No, no, because they've been cleared by the FDA that those products
Hmm.
are safe. But if there's anything that we know about the FDA,
Oh,
is
don't
that
get me
they are
started on them.
absolute idiots.
They're not. They are not our friends.
No, they're not.
Never will
They're not.
be.
Nope. They
Because
they are they are evil people.
they consider what I do and what my ancestors have done illegal. I'm
Right.
illegal now,
Right.
but it's okay, and it's already been FDA approved. The fake chicken and all the other fake meat that's growing in petri dishes and crap, but that's safe for you.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my wife was asking me the other day. She said, "How does that even work?" I said, "I don't know. It's just grown in a
I don't
petri
want
dish."
to know.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, when you can take the DNA cells off of something and start growing it into
It's
and you're not
gross.
even growing the full chicken, you're just growing the part of the chicken.
Yep,
Now you tell me
it's
that ain't
gross.
some daggone Frankenstein stuff. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
what I call Frankenstein food, yes, and I
yeah,
keep very close. People would be amazed at how much GMO food they've been eating and gorging themselves on for
I
many, many years.
I would
It's
encourage
just,
everybody to go to their cabinets right now, run to your cabinets, open them up, and look on the back of every box or on the side, because now they're getting slick. They have to put that it's genetically modified or bioengineered. They have to put that now
yeah,
legally. Now they're getting slick about it. You got all the ingredients and everything over here, all the warnings and everything. And down here under the 1-800 number, they'll put bioengineered or
Yep.
around on the side of the box where the instructions are, down at the very bottom in fine print, they'll put, genetically modified. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
now, why didn't you put that up there where all the facts were, the
Yep.
carbs, the fat intake, all that other stuff? Why didn't you put it there? That's where people's going to look. That's why they
Mm-hmm.
don't put it there. They're legally made. They're legally, made to put that on there, and so they find a way
Yep.
to try to hide it the best they can.
I have to read all labels before I buy anything because I cannot have red dye 40. That's in just about everything. Another slick thing that they're pushing is artificial sugars. I cannot have them, not whatsoever. I will get violently sick from that. So I have to
Right,
read everything. And a lot of people don't know. Now, it's nasty to begin with, but Jiffy Mix, completely GMO.
right.
You
It
know,
is
when we were kids, Ovaltine was great for us. Ovaltine now is completely GMO.
right.
There is a list out there. Just search for them, and you'll be surprised what's in your food.
They
You'll
put.
be surprised.
I don't. I mean, I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's true, but just the thought of it makes me not buy these products. But there are supposed to be products that they put aborted fetal tissues in,
Mm-hmm.
and Pepsi and Doritos is one of them. And so, yeah, we don't fool with that stuff because just in case, I don't know if they do or they don't, but just in case they do,
I don't like Pepsi anyway. It's
I
way
don't
too
want it in
sweet,
me. Yeah,
nasty.
right, right. Um, so here's something. Tennessee Bushcrafter says bad thing is the FDA formed to look out for the consumer when Heinz couldn't compete with people making meat sauce with sawdust. That is very, very a very good statement. And here's why. The majority of things that we have that were put in place in this government were created for a good
Control.
reason, to help people. It was just bad people got in and manipulated it. Oh goodness, the one that came up with Social Security. I can't remember his name. Was it Truman that came up with Social Security, or
Uh,
or
or was it Eisenhower?
Wilson?
No.
No,
Let me
I'm
see.
thinking that was
Oh, Junior's kidding in.
Yeah.
Roosevelt.
Roosevelt.
Okay.
Teddy Roosevelt's what Junior's saying. But yeah, talking about the sawdust,
Right.
that's in everything. That's wood fiber is in everything.
Ain't that crazy? That's just
Yep.
insane. Why would you? And ain't no wonder people get clogged up, backed
Yep.
up,
They
can't
want
poop.
you to get full
Yeah,
in more
yeah.
ways than one.
You're gonna get full, all right. You can be,
It's a filler so they can cut back on actually good things in the food.
Well, I wonder a lot because I've seen some people say that is what they thought that was in the chicken feed this winter while the chickens weren't eating was sawdust was in the chicken feed, and that's the reason why the hens weren't laying as good.
See, here's the problem I have with that. Now, if you think back to our ancestors, they had chickens. Them chickens laid. And once they got old enough, they quit laying and become stewing hens.
Right,
Now, what did our ancestors feed those chickens back then? Not much of nothing.
right.
They free range, they scrounged, they ate bugs.
Yep,
Now in the winter they got cracked corn.
right.
Now, I'm a firm believer. When I had my chickens, and I've had lots of chickens in my lifetime, all I ever fed them was scratch feed. These chickens need a break. Our ancestors wasn't feeding them no laying mash, no laying mix. Quit pumping these chickens, forcing them to lay eggs. I mean, if you had to push an egg out of a certain area
Right.
every single day, you deserve a break for a while. It's
Absolutely.
natural cycle of life.
It
Chickens lay only so many eggs a year,
that's
and
true.
then they get a break.
Yep. Absolutely.
I never have done the laying mash. Now I do the chick starter. because it's chicks,
Right.
but not much, and I only do the organic ones. But after they get old enough, it's chicken scratch.
Right.
That's it. Our ancestors didn't need all this special feed and everything.
No.
I ended up, I was an entrepreneur that I didn't know about when I was a teenager. Back in the day when I was a teenager, you could buy goats. I always bought my nanny goats already bred.
Right.
I paid anywhere from $15 to $25 a goat. Already bred. Some of them would have anywhere from 2 to 4 kids. And I ended up having over 120 goats before long.
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
it took a couple of years.
Right.
No, we didn't. And goats nowadays, I don't understand this. Oh, my goats don't like rain. Really? Rain didn't stop my goats. They were out in it. Oh, my goats won't eat grass. They won't graze. What on earth? Now, in the winter, they got a little sweet feed and hay. But during the summer, them babies were out there on grass.
Yep.
They ate vines. They ate everything.
Everything. They'll eat the bark off the trees.
I didn't have trouble with my goats on that one.
Yeah, mine will do that. They'll eat the bark off the
Which
trees.
kind do you have?
I got Nubians.
Oh, you got real goats.
Yeah.
Real goats. I've seen all this Nigerian goat stuff. No thanks. I don't want a mini goat. I want a
No.
goat that I'm actually going to get milk, a lot of milk from.
Well,
And
if you watch the two live streams I have with Cattywampus Acres, he explains why the Nigerian dwarves are so much better than my Nubians out there.
oh, they
And
have more cream.
yep. And so
But
if you're making
here's the downside to it. They have a whole lot more trouble giving birth.
that's true.
They
But
have a whole lot more trouble. None of my Nubians, not one. I had mostly Nubians. I had some brush goats. I had a couple of machas. They kind of were weird because they didn't have, ear flaps, and you had to watch them. But I had 2 fainting goats. Yeah, that wore off real fast.
right.
But not once did I have trouble with any of them giving birth. Not once. And I have seen way too many people have to birth the Nigerians, or they either died in birth. And that's not natural. They
Right.
shouldn't be having trouble giving birth. That's a natural thing. Now, I
Right.
granted, yes, they do get turned. Animals, are like
Oh
humans.
yeah.
There's,
There's
side.
exceptions.
It happens,
Right.
but it happens way too much for them.
Right. That's the same thing as bulldogs and French bulldogs.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. A lot of them have to have C-sections.
Yep.
So
And dogs shouldn't have to.
right. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, my animals, I never fed them all that fancy stuff. They got sweet feed, and my daddy was old school. He taught me from the beginning when when it come time to worm the animals, we use pipe tobacco. We didn't use chemicals. We used pipe tobacco. That'll worm an animal really fast.
I use my pumpkins to do it.
Yeah, pumpkin seeds, pumpkins will worm animals.
Yep.
But yeah, go back to basics. That's why people's getting sick. All these hormones and all this crap. We don't need that.
No, we don't. We absolutely don't.
And it's taken great effect on.
Well, yeah,
if
well,
you
look
watch
at it.
children, they're not
Everything.
children anymore.
Well, no, they're not. And everything is a superbug anymore.
Yep.
Everything is resistant to the doctor's medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
I got a cold. No, don't try to fight it off. Don't try to take something natural first. Just run to the doctor and get antibiotics. It'll make it all better.
Or over the counter crap.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just like that stomach bug I had. I wish that on nobody.
Right.
But I knew normal stomach bug, 24, 48 hours. let it run its course. I knew me being stressed out over Junior, my immune system was down. I had already took my fault. I had already took a week break off of my Usnea and elderberry tincture, so I got nailed. All right, so I let it run its course, and yeah, it was still going strong after 3 days. I'm like going, nope, I've had enough. I was starting to get too weak, and all I wanted to do was sleep. I went and made that stomach bug tea that I showed people how to make. 1 mug of that, and the next day, it had already started that evening when I made it, but the next day, I was done with the stomach bug.
That's awesome.
Completely done with it. Because, yeah, it was time to evict it. I had enough of it.
Right. Time to evict it. So they were. He was right. Junior was right. It was Roosevelt, and
It was
and
Roosevelt.
what's his name?
He's over there smiling now. You made his night.
Homestead Homestead Aquarius. He also said it was Roosevelt too, but the reason why I know that is he had went back and said later on that if he would have known that they would have used Social Security for what it became. And I think it was in the 60s or something like that. Whenever he said it, anyways, he said if he would have known that it would have been used for whatever it became back then, he wouldn't have he would have never came up with it. He'd have never done it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how many of them have made things, like the FDA, like the FBI, the CIA, and other things like that. And said, what, if I would have known that this is what would have happened with it, I'd have never came up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because of there's a saying that the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Good intentions, yep. I know that one all too well.
Right.
Know that one all too well.
Yeah,
but a lot of people don't realize not only is there the big pharma lobbyist, a lot of people don't realize the number one lobbyist organization of all is food.
Yep.
Food.
Absolutely.
And
control the food, control the people.
Control food, control the people. Yes. Make them all puppets. And if you think back, a lot of people didn't listen a lot to Reagan. Reagan had some very good insight. He told everybody, warned everybody, it would only take one generation to dumb down people.
Yep.
And they massively excelled at it. Massively.
Yes, they did.
And they're continuing to do it. And it's sad. But people starting to wake up.
Yep. Well,
they got the one thing people have to learn. As long as they keep us separated and divided, we are no threat to them. Once we can all open our eyes and unite as one, we're danger.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem. I see a lot of things. I don't say a lot about stuff. I notice a lot of things though, and what I notice is there's a lot of people who like to get on their soapbox.
Mm-hmm.
And they like to be like the rooster and see who can crow the loudest.
Yep.
And anytime that somebody would say to these people, hey, maybe we shouldn't say or do or whatever, some of the things that certain people do, that they always get defensive immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you don't want to believe that way, then don't believe that. If you don't want to, well, maybe. For instance, let me see. I'm trying to think of this one thing that I noticed today. Oh, there was somebody who was arguing about terrestrial and extraterrestrial. And of all the things to be arguing about, let's argue about extraterrestrial and terrestrial, right? I mean, how silly is that? But this person said, well, see right there, it says that they're terrestrial. It's terrestrial means that that they're here on Earth, that they're among us. And somebody, because I was getting ready to say, yeah, but you're trying to equate terrestrial word with extraterrestrial, which literally means something totally different to terrestrial.
Yep.
Well, I went to go say that, and somebody had already said, well, extraterrestrial means out of the
Yep.
world, outside of. That's what extra means in there. Like extracurricular means, it's outside of
Extra
curriculum.
hot.
Right. It's still curriculum, but it's
Yep.
extra curriculum, which is outside of your normal curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy was saying, yeah, they might be terrestrial, but they're extraterrestrial, meaning they're outside of the Earth's atmosphere. And this person was just like, well, believe it if you want to, but blah, 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 not willing to admit they were wrong. Right.
Yep.
And,
How old was he?
Oh, I don't know. The one, I don't know how old that one person was, but the one,
Was he a younger guy or an older guy?
She's younger. She's probably in her 30s.
That's why she got mad.
Huh?
She wouldn't admit she was wrong.
Right. Yeah. And
they don't like the young ones. Do not like to admit when they're wrong.
Right. And she's like this a lot. And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, a lot of us don't have a chip on our shoulder. We got a whole daggone building on our shoulder, right? And the moment we perceive somebody to budge it or knock it off or whatever, we get defensive. And we start, mouthing off or like her trying to argue the point of it means the same thing. Well, it literally don't,
No.
And so I think the reason why we can't get on the same page is because of that kind of stuff right there. There's not enough people willing to be humble.
Yep.
And say, well, you know what? Okay, you got me. I'm wrong. Or I believed that and I was wrong. Or I said that and I was wrong, or whatever, right? There's not enough people who will do that. And because of that, that's why we can't come together as one unit. And because in our society, people have been taught that it's me. They're selfish. Yep. They're selfish by default, or they think that everybody owes them something because of how many people follow them or who listens to them, or for any number of reasons.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Right. And it's just kind of like, and these are the very ones that are like, oh, we should all bind together. Well, nobody wants to bind with you because you're a butthole.
Yep.
So, I mean, you can't admit when you're wrong, So I think that's the reason why it is like it is.
But now a lot of people, the main thing that causes the most trouble is people forget their roots, where they come from. Too many people try to live higher than their means. Too many people trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Right.
People get arrogant. See, that's how I stay grounded, because I know where I come from. I come from being poor.
Yep.
I strongly adhere to the old traditions that were taught to me, and I am very thankful for it. Every horrible life lesson, and I've lived through it, has made me a stronger, wiser person. I'm thankful for them. I can look at them now and be thankful for them. At the time, I was mad. But with age comes great wisdom.
Yep.
And we got too many young people thinking that they born smart, and they're not, because they haven't had experiences. My gracious, even their curriculum is horrible. When I was going to school, you done your work in school. There wasn't no staring at no computers or nothing. You learned to count with actual money or popsicle sticks.
Right.
And you learned with your fingers, and you learned in your head as well. And when you had homework, you better do that homework, because if you didn't turn that homework in, your parents found out.
Yep.
Too many people now are living higher than their means and having latchkey kids, children raising themselves. It's just a mess.
It is. It is a mess.
Truly a mess.
Yep. And this is how Tennessee Bushcrafter says arrogant, self-absorbed, entitled, complacent, and all the wrong places. It's true, and that's we'll just say this real quick. If you guys haven't seen the movie Sound of Freedom, highly encourage you to go watch it. I don't encourage anybody to ever go to the movie theaters. We don't go. We've got a jailbroke fire stick, and that's how we watched it. But if you got a jailbroke fire stick, please watch there. If you don't, go to the movies and see it if you can or want to, because it is a good movie and will open up your eyes. We are very self-absorbed. We are very, just arrogant and all about me, and it belongs to me. It's I'm entitled to my feelings and this and that and all, whatever. And this movie kind of says, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't be so worried about ourselves as much as we should be everybody around us, right? Because there's over 2 million children that are done like that every year. And America is one of the top destinations and is among the leaders of child sex trafficking in the world.
Yep.
And here we are worried about, all kinds of silliness, right? While all this
worried
stuff
about that new car,
right,
that you don't need. I mean, you can take the price of that car and buy you a house.
Exactly.
A used house that you can remodel. You living higher than the Joneses. You don't need all those brand new extra special phones and zooped up, all this stuff. Yeah, what aggravates me is American children come last.
Right.
They're the last to get adopted.
Yep.
Quit going overseas and grabbing all these overseas children. Adopt American. I don't care how hard it is. I don't care how bad the paperwork is. Adopt American.
Yep.
Americans come first. We're
That's
supposed
right.
to be taking care of our kin.
We got homeless.
To be taking care.
Got homeless veterans.
That makes me so mad. I cannot even begin to say how upset I am. There should never, ever be a homeless American veteran on the corner begging for food. They should not have to beg for nothing.
Nope.
Nothing. They should have their housing. They should have roofs over their heads. They should have everything they need because they sacrificed for us.
Yep.
And there is no excuse ever in a veteran doing without health care or a roof over their head or warm food in their belly. They should not want for anything.
Yep, that's true.
And it irks me. It irks me to no end.
Me too. But yet here we are. We're worried about all the wrong things, right? And it's just because we are so absorbed and we think we're entitled, and it's pitiful.
I learned from a very young age. I was entitled to nothing. To be thankful that I had a roof over my head. You better believe I done chores. You think I got money for them? No. I'd better bring that report card home and it better be good. And I was straight A student because, I didn't take no chances with my mama. But straight A student because I went to school to learn. It wasn't anywhere to go play.
Right.
And if I missed school, they knew I was extremely sick because I didn't play hooky. School was an education.
I played a lot of hooky. I'm just going to say it. I played a lot of hooky.
I didn't play hooky or nothing. I wanted an education, and I'm gonna be absolutely serious on this one. Boys didn't matter to me in school. Those books were more important because I knew the boys could cause 18 years of trouble.
Right.
No, thank you.
Right.
No, thank you. I wanted an education, there's no excuse. Don't tell me how this person's privileged or not because of who they are. Education is for everybody. Search it, seek it.
That's right.
Desire it. Anybody can be smart.
That's right. My great grandfather, he didn't go to school till like the second grade. He was self-taught after that, and he was one of the smartest men I've ever known.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
and people got to realize, just because you're poor, don't mean you're stupid.
That's right.
And I
Absolutely.
don't like that. I had somebody comment on something I posted. Just because you're poor doesn't make you stupid.
That's
It
right.
just means that, well, life choices,
Yep.
and you don't have to be rich to be happy.
No.
You don't have to be rich to get an education.
Nope.
As long as you do what you're supposed to do and keep focused, you can excel at anything.
I think the other thing though,
Remember where your roots are. Remember where you come from.
that's right.
Ground yourself, and you will go far.
That's true. That's very true. I think the other part though too of this is that we've took a whole generation and we've told them this school doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Certain things don't matter. And we've pushed for them to be doctors and lawyers and all these other things that are really hard to get a job in. And
Hmm.
we've created a debt that they couldn't pay, right?
Yep.
When the majority of them should have been plumbers, should have been mechanics, should have been electricians, should have been carpenters, should have
Yes.
been everything else. But we made those jobs seem so unimportant and so minuscule and unfulfilling and everything else that we've pushed them to go into that direction of,
Yep.
well, I've got to go to college to become something. And that is absolutely not the truth. And,
Yep.
you know, I went straight from military school straight into the military, and then got out and worked jobs that were roughneck jobs my whole time,
Yep.
until I started doing this. And so, if anything that I try to show my kids is, yeah, okay, school's important. Now, I don't see no need for algebra because I've never used algebra a day in my life, or calculus, or any of that
Yep.
other stuff, right?
I'm the same way. I'm the
But
same way.
but I think, if we taught them, their ABCs, there's one, two, threes, the basic stuff that we as adults know that we're going to use every
Hmm.
day or most days, right? If we taught them that, and then we said, but you know what? I'm also going to teach you how to grow a garden.
Yep.
I'm going to teach you how to raise chickens. I'm going to teach you how to build things. I'm going to
Hmm.
teach you how to fix your home. Be
Yep.
a electrician for yourself. Know how
Yep.
to put in a light socket or an electrical
Hmm.
socket or wire up your breaker box or whatever. If we taught those skills, and then when they got old enough and they said, hey, you know what? I think I want to go this direction. Well, then by all means, go be the lawyer, go be the doctor, go get that education, right?
Yep.
But at least you know how to cut the grass. At least you know
Yep.
how to grow your own food. At least you know how to raise chickens. At least you know how to wire up stuff in your house. At least you know the adult things in life.
Yep.
So that whenever you get older, you're not sitting there going, well, I better call the plumber to put in my new sink,
Yep.
or I better call the electrician to put in a new socket, or I better call the mechanic to change my tire, or
Mhm.
whatever, right? If we taught them those things, I think we'd be a better nation. I think we'd
Yep.
have smarter people, right, as a whole, because they would know the basics. There would be common sense again.
Hmm.
I always talk about this movie, Idiocracy. I don't know if you've
Yep.
ever seen it, but in Idiocracy, they freeze these two people, and then these two people come back. Something happens to their storage containment center where
Hmm.
their cryogenics was frozen. They come back in the year 2300 or some crazy mess, and everybody's pouring Gatorade like stuff on all the dirt trying to get plants to grow. Everybody's stupid, and they're just
Oh my
idiots.
God.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you've
That
not
would
seen it,
drive me crazy right
you
there.
have to watch
Yeah.
it. If you've not watched the movie
I haven't
Idiocracy,
seen it. I
you've
guess
got
I
to
will have
watch
to
it.
prepare myself for that one.
Yeah, you've got to watch it. It's funny. It's a comedy. It's funny,
Hmm.
but at the same time, it's very realistic because this movie was made in like 2008 or something like that. And
I'm
if
gonna
you
have to
looked at
watch
that
it.
today versus back then, I mean, you're going to sit there and go, well, I'm watching this every day.
Yeah.
And I'm watching these kids on TikTok do absolute dumb stuff every day for attention. You know what I mean?
Oh, they do.
Yeah, let's suck baloney down our throats as fast as we can. You know, have you seen them do that?
I'm a strict, firm believer that if you have children, don't matter if it's a boy or a girl, before they turn 18, doesn't matter what sex they are, they should know how to cook, and I mean cook,
Right.
clean, know
Yep.
how to do dishes, change tires, check oil, change anything in the car if possible. They should be fully what I call functional
Yep.
and able to run a household on their own before they leave out that door.
Right.
That's a problem with a lot of children. Nobody took the time. I don't care if it was a boy or a girl. That dish sponge fits in both their hands perfectly.
Right.
Clean the dishes, take the garbage out, know how to sweep, know how to mop, know how to vacuum, dust, change light bulbs, change, plug ins, simple stuff. Know
Right.
how to garden, know how to can, everything fully functional.
Yep.
That's what happened when they took home ec out of schools. Because when I was in junior high, there was boys and girls in home ec. It wasn't just girls.
Yep.
I was taking wood shop. I took wood shop for 3 years in junior high. I loved it. I built stuff.
Yep.
I learned to build stuff. I learned how to make blueprints and everything. What I got mad was when I went into high school. I wanted to go into uh, this high school that I we moved and ended up going to. I could have took what is it, body mechanics, something like that, and I wanted to learn how to weld. I wanted to know how to weld. Mama wouldn't allow me. No girl's supposed to do that. I said, "Well, I'm sorry, I want to, but yeah, no,
Right.
I didn't win." But yeah, I'm still mad that I don't know how to weld. Now I know some. I know the basics of blacksmithing. I have worked the blacksmithing
Forge.
anvil and everything, the brazier and stuff. I know how to do that. I don't know all the technical names, but I know how to run it. Uh, Worst case scenario, if I have to, I learned from an elderly gentleman that was a slave driver. I learned how to how do you put it, rebuild and fix the old horse and buggy carts and the carriages and all of that. I know how to do all that. I know how to fix the wagon wheels. Yeah, learn trades, learn things, skills that will keep you alive.
Yep.
Computers, no, that's actually our downfall is computers. I'm grateful for them to be able to do this, but they have dumbed down a lot of people.
Yes, they have.
And yeah, keep learning. Learn something new every day. Learn a skill. Learn how to survive without power. Yeah,
Right.
learn how to survive. You'll thank yourself for
Absolutely, you will. Absolutely, you will. Just going through all these comments, and
it.
one of them said, "Come
Yeah,
over."
I've been missing most of the comments. I apologize, y'all. I haven't seen them. I see them on the side, but I've been too busy.
That's how I get. I get super busy, and I'll sit there and just let them go through. But I see here where to begin. Homestead said, "Come over."
I'll get to talking, and yeah.
Yep. But where to begin? Homestead said, "Come over, and our husband will teach you how to weld."
I'd love to. I would really love to.
Welding is
Because
very easy as long as you get your gas, your heat, and your feed right. You're golden. If it's a MIG welder, get your gas, your feed, your heat right, and you just,
And
it's super.
I think Junior knows the MIG welder and how to do that. It that's just like my ex that I was married to for 24 years. I was constantly around construction and plumbing. Yeah, I know how to build things. You better believe I know how to do plumbing. And worst case scenario, even though it's nasty as can be, yeah, I know how to run gas pipeline.
There you go.
I don't have the pipe thread or anything, but I know how to run that, and that's nasty, but I can do that. I pay attention. I learn.
Yep. That's what we should be doing. We should be paying attention. We
Hmm.
should learn. You know, I try to teach my wife everything. You know, if I think it's something that's, when I got her, God bless her, poor thing, she didn't know how to cook. I had to teach her how to cook, and now she's a great cook. She's unsurpassed me. Um, I had to teach her all kinds of stuff. She just wasn't taught. Just
Hmm.
was not taught how to do any of that stuff. And
Oh no, I was taught at a young age how to cook.
well,
At, at 5 years old, I was frying that egg on that stove.
I
Uh,
watched my daddy and my mommy a lot.
hmm.
Both of them was gone whenever I got old enough. My daddy was gone. He worked in the oil fields, so he was always
Hmm.
gone. And then my mommy, she ended up getting a job working with FEMA. She was
Yeah.
always gone. And so I think I was about 14 when they were gone a lot, and I just go to the cabinet and whip out the cookbook, and I'd read the instructions on the cookbook, and
Hmm.
I'd make it, because I'd watched enough of them to know, okay, well, if you're going to cook something like this, you need this pan or you need this pot or whatever, right? And I
Hmm.
knew that they used them cookbooks, and
Yeah.
I knew how to read and do those cookbooks, and fractions and all that stuff. And most of the measuring cups had the same daggone thing wrote on it, so it wasn't that
Yeah.
hard. You know what I'm saying? And I taught myself how to cook. It was something that needed to be done. I had to eat. My two little brothers had to eat.
Yep.
So we
I'll
we
tell you, my grandmother taught me how to cook from scratch. Mama, she cooked once in a while, maybe. But nerve wracking. The first time I ever had to cook a turkey was 8 years old. Now, I had help getting it into the oven, but I was in charge of the turkey. Turned out great. But another thing as a child that I loved to do, I was on that couch every Saturday for PBS watching all the cooking shows. You learn how to cook that way. I collect cookbooks, good cookbooks, old cookbooks if possible. Yeah,
right.
there's no excuse people not knowing how to cook.
Nope.
I know women that burn water. There's no excuse in that.
My
To me, that's an oxymoron.
Let me tell you
You
something.
should know how to cook. And don't
My
call me no sexist, y'all.
my
I
mother-in-law,
believe that men and women should know how to cook.
my mother-in-law has done got my father-in-law to the point where if it ain't burnt, he thinks there's something wrong with it. I promise you. I promise you, hand on the Bible. If it ain't burnt, he think we cooked the same thing she did one time. He looked over. This ain't done. Yeah, it is. It's done. That's as done gets, man. No, no, it ain't like she cooks it. Oh Lord, have mercy. My wife had to go take it back and cook it some more.
Oh my gracious, that's
Yeah, but
bad.
if it ain't burnt, he won't eat it. So, but now
No,
there,
no.
to her credit, though, there are some things that she cooks that are really good that I'll daggone sop up with a biscuit. It's just that good. I'll eat it all to pieces. But then
Well,
there's those
Junior's the
things,
same way. There's certain things that he'll only eat if I cook it. He
right?
don't like it if anybody else cooks it, but if I cook it, he's going to eat it. Chicken livers, if I cook it, or Jack Pearls cooks it, he's going to eat it. Anybody else? No. There's a
I,
lot of stuff. Yeah,
oh,
because
oh, I
no,
can't,
if
I can't
the
do liver.
reason why I'm saying about that is I'm anemic.
Right?
Chicken
You
livers
got to
is
have it.
some of the best source of iron as well, and they're
Right?
good for you.
I
But
my daddy used to cook. Oh God. Yeah.
you ain't had them cooked right. That's why.
My daddy used to cook them he would fry them chicken livers, or he'd cook beef liver and
Yeah.
have beef and onions. And that I don't like that consistency, that chalky. I
No, he
don't know.
cooked them. He cooked them too much. He
I
cooked them
don't
too
know. I
much.
don't like it. I don't like it. That I can't deal with that's that and peas, man. I hated peas when I was growing up. He'd make me sit there till I ate my peas. I hated that.
Oh,
And
I love peas.
I'll eat peas now, but I'll eat them sugar snaps and stuff, But
Yeah.
I'll eat them all to pieces. I mean, I grow them and eat them right off of. But man, a bean in a can, them mushy mashed potatoes with skin on them, or I don't even know. They ain't eating that. They ain't eating them canned peas, man. I still won't eat them. They have to be. Them ones out of the garden that we froze, because I
Yeah.
won't eat a pea if it ain't like that.
Hmm.
Once they get in the can, I think they're ruined.
They overcook them, is what it is. They overcook them, and plus, it don't help that they're in that can.
Right? Yeah, I don't like them, but I'll eat them out of the garden. But I still won't eat one out of the can. And
Yeah.
liver, I can't even stand the smell of it anymore. I just don't even like the smell
You
of
just
it.
gotta have it seasoned right and cooked right. That's all.
Everybody likes eating his liver.
Hmm.
It's not me. Not me, because I don't like. I mean, my brothers would eat it, but not me.
But the best liver there is venison liver. That's the best tasting one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I just can't bring
Some
my.
people like it, some people don't. I'm one
I
of
just
those. I love it.
I don't know, man. There's not much that I won't eat,
Hmm.
but I just and if I was hungry, I'd eat it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, if I was hungry, I'd eat it. But
There's a few things that I can't eat because of my childhood, because we were poor and it was constantly eating them. I cannot. Now, if I was starving to death, I probably could. But no, don't open no can of Jack mackerel around me. I
oh
can't do it. I
no,
cannot do it because it was Jack mackerel cakes 2, 3 times a week. Yeah,
ooh.
no. And
I eat salmon, and
now I love
we had a
salmon.
now when I was a kid growing up. Lord, we was poor. I mean, we was
Yeah,
just poor. There wasn't no other word for it. But there was stuff we'd eat every week. You knew the menu. Monday was probably leftovers from Sunday.
yep,
Tuesday was probably spaghetti.
yep.
And then you probably had spaghetti on Wednesday. And if you didn't eat it all by Wednesday, you had it Thursday.
Thursday, yep.
And then Friday was macaroni and cheese and
And fish
salmon
sticks,
cake. Yep.
macaroni and cheese and fish sticks.
Yep, we had salmon cakes and
Yep.
brown beans,
Mm,
And then Wednesday, if you was lucky, you might get a barbecue, or not Wednesday, but Saturday, if you was lucky, you might get a barbecue sandwich or a hot dog.
yep.
If
Now
if
I tell
if
you,
if we didn't have
what
beanie
we
weenies,
what we used to look forward to, especially me, is when the commodities, because we used to get commodities back
yep,
then.
the peanut butter and the
That
cheese.
oh, that peanut butter was good.
Yeah, so was the
Let me
big old
tell you,
block of cheese.
that canned
Yep,
pork, that made the best barbecue sandwiches ever. And we look forward to the canned pork because we knew we used that for barbecue sandwiches. Now the cheese, thank gracious, was real cheddar. It wasn't that Belvita crap.
right,
Belvita is not allowed around me. That's
right.
not cheese.
Nope.
That's nasty. But yeah, commodities was wonderful back in the day. Cereal, you got dried figs, sometimes prunes, sometimes raisins. The peanut butter was great. I liked the powder eggs. I thought they were good once they were mixed right. And yeah, it used to be good stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it did. Because I remember going with my mommy to the WIC office, and we get peanut butter and cheese from down there, and juice in a can. I can't remember what kind of juice it was in
Yeah,
a can. And yeah, I mean, and man, that peanut butter and that cheese was good stuff, but it ain't like that no more.
No, it ain't. It's not
No,
because they don't want to give you anything good. They don't want you to eat good.
nope.
And talking about the spaghetti, yeah, I learned real fast how good a spaghetti sandwich could be.
Really? I ain't
You
ever had
got
a spaghetti
you got a
sandwich.
piece of white bread, slap that spaghetti in there. Now, if you was
Fold it
lucky,
up.
you got to butter the bread if you was
Right.
lucky,
Yeah.
or actually in our case, a lot of times it was margarine, but we thought it was butter. And put that spaghetti in there and eat the sandwich, and you was perfectly happy.
Okay. I didn't know that's what you were talking about. Yeah, we would. When I can remember being kids, Dad would give us I always like 2 or 3 pieces of buttered bread with mine, and
Yes.
I'd fold it in half, put the spaghetti in there, and eat it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I didn't know.
Spaghetti sandwich.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I didn't even think about. I didn't even think to call them that. I just knew that's how I ate my spaghetti, and then I'd take and sop up the rest of the stuff off the
Yep.
plate
Because
with
you
it.
had to hold on to one of them pieces of bread because you know that there's going to be sauce all over that plate. You wanted to get everything.
Yep, yep. And then whenever we would have on Thanksgiving, we'd have turkey, gravy, and mashed potatoes,
Mm-hmm.
or ham. For
Yep.
Christmas, he'd make them homemade rolls, and I'd grab me a bunch of them homemade rolls.
Yep.
I'm a bread eater, man. If you got bread and good food, I'm gonna eat a bunch of bread with that.
We're,
And
we're
I'd take
Southern. We're Southern. Bread is the carrier for everything. You
right,
put a piece of bread down, beans, and the pot liquor goes on
right,
it. Gravy. You'd be perfectly happy with gravy on a slice of what they called loaf bread back
yep,
then. It wasn't white bread, it was loaf bread. Put the gravy on there. Put pork chop on there. Or a piece of chicken on there. Gravy carried, the bread carried everything.
yep. It did.
And it was a filler, is all it
Yep,
was, because times were bad, times were hard. And yeah, I mean, there's been a many a time that, big pot of lima beans, and I just put the beans and the juice on top of the bread, and I was happy.
yep. I'm telling you,
And
my
I
dad.
still do it.
My dad, he didn't grow up with a lot of money either.
Hmm.
So, um, and stuff. So I mean, we was raised pretty much like like he was, and I'd get all that bread up, for Thanksgiving. I'd everything go on them rolls. I'd be over
Hmm.
there happy as a fat kid in church, just sitting there, yeah,
Yeah,
just
bread
sitting
and
there,
butter.
yeah, and
Now, did you ever do the crackers and butter too?
no,
That's
but
an old Southern thing
Mama
too.
Ryan, she would sit there with saltine crackers and butter, and she if she didn't have a tub of butter, she had a stick of butter,
Yeah,
not
and
like
you put it
a
on
real butter.
just slightly.
She'd
Yep,
cut
I've
it
had a
and,
many a snack like that.
yep. Hey, Tennessee Bushcrafter, chip beef gravy is one of the things my mother-in-law can cook, and I love it, and will eat the
Now,
crap out of
see,
it.
our SOS was even poorer. Chipped beef was too expensive. Our our version of Southern SOS was hamburger, uh, dark kidney beans, and then you made the gravy after frying the hamburger, and that's what you ate over bread. We
Wow.
didn't have no chipped beef. That was I asked Mama
Here,
about that once. She said, "Where do you think you live, in some fancy hotel?" I said, "Never mind. It was hamburger. It was always hamburger. No, don't you think you're gonna get no chipped beef?"
let me get that hair in there. Yeah, Kara, you dropped that cup. Get another. Hey, get another one. Get the stool down. Hey, Jaden, come here and get her a cup. Sorry.
Oh
Try,
no, I'm fine. You take care of
trying
that
to help
baby.
her. Um, but yeah, get her a cup down there so I can pour her some milk. But yeah, the there was times when we couldn't have hot dogs, so we had to settle for beanie weenies
Yeah.
because we had the hot dogs, but wasn't enough money to go buy buns for it. Or if you
No,
did
you
have
slapped
buns, you
that
had to
on a
get
slice of bread. That was
right,
our
right.
hamburger.
We've had
That
them
was
like
our
that
hot
too.
dog buns.
Yep.
We
We've had
rarely ever had hot dog buns. Sliced
and
bread.
and my dad, he can make some bread, like homemade loaf of bread,
Hmm.
and he would make it. And man, when it come out of the oven, we were there like daggone dogs at our bowl waiting to
Yep.
just and the butter would come out and he'd start lathering butter on there and give us all plates. Man, he by the time he got to the last one giving us food, the first one was ready for the
Yep.
next piece. And we'd sit there and eat that whole loaf of bread. He'd make 3 or 4 loaves of bread like that. I know we had to put at least 1 or 2 of them away before we went to bed. But
And
it was
see,
good.
that's another one. What you just showed there, a lot of
Yeah.
people look at me and make fun of me. Peanut butter and pickle sandwiches are
Peanut
epic.
butter pickle
Yes,
sandwiches.
peanut butter and pickle sandwiches. Now I'm not a sweet pickle person. No, you got to try it once. It's I don't do sweet pickles at all. I do dill pickles.
Right.
And let me tell you, they are great. I'm not gonna
Really?
lie. Yeah.
You put the pickle on
I
the
have to
sandwich?
be careful. I have to be careful now because of fat content in peanut butter. But every once in a while, you just crave it. It's wonderful,
You
and
put the
it's not a
pickle on
pregnancy
it?
thing, huh?
You put the pickle on the sandwich, or you just eat the
Yep,
pickle? You
yep.
eat the sandwich and the pickle, the
I do the sliced dill pickles or the long. You know how they started
spears?
making those all the way long
Yeah, the
sandwich? Yeah,
spears.
yeah. Just take your 2 pieces of bread, put your peanut butter on. Now dill pickles only. I swear by the dill pickles. Put those on. Yeah, sandwich.
Only way I eat pickles is by themselves. I don't even eat
Try,
pickles in a
try it
sandwich.
with the peanut butter at least once.
All
It
right.
is good.
You have me out here like I'm a pregnant.
But no, it's actually healthy for you because a lot of people don't realize dill pickles extremely healthy for you, and so is the peanut butter as well.
Right. I
But
like
no, it's good.
my favorite pickle is a Clausen pickle
Yeah,
because
yep, I like them.
they're all done it's all refrigerated. They're made
Hmm.
through a cold process.
Yep.
I love them like that. Annie does them like that, you know, but it's harder to do them like that, than just canning them because you don't get a very long shelf life off of them.
Yeah.
But man, I love them. I love them when
But
they're like
no,
that.
when you
They're-
get a chance, just give it a try. Don't
I'll
knock it
try it
till you
out
try it. It's good. It
because
really is.
that just in my mind, I'm sitting there going, I love a pickle and I love peanut butter. I like peanut butter and banana sandwiches, you
Yep.
know, but peanut butter and pickle,
You
I
gotta
just
try it.
I don't.
It's just if nothing else, it's just not the same on a saltine. Just do what we call half sandwiches. Fold that bread over,
Right.
little bit of peanut butter on there, and dill pickle. Just give it a try. You're going to like it. It's
Oh,
actually good.
all right. I'm gonna have to try it out. Ooh, somebody said chicken and dumplings down there. Now you're talking my kind of talk.
Yes, I
Boy,
do. I do. I don't do the drop dumplings. I do the old fashioned because I call those cheater dumplings. Those drop dumplings by the spoonful. No, I roll mine out, cut them all out and everything. I do the old fashioned dumplings.
right. I can eat chicken and dumplings, man. Oh man, I'm gonna have to fix that tomorrow. Oh Lord, I might have to fix that tonight. Man, y'all done got Fat Boy hungry. But I'm tell you what,
Well,
man.
now, in case you got it, you can do what I call the cheater chicken and dumplings, which is kind of close to homemade, but not really. Canned chicken, some chicken broth, and if you got, we call them wampum biscuits, the ones that's in the can
Oh,
where
the
you got
canned
to snack.
biscuits. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes good dumplings too.
yeah, it
We
does.
call them wampum biscuits because you got to wamp them
Right.
on the
Yeah,
counter.
they do taste pretty good, but I can make biscuits real fast, man. I've
Yep,
learned from my daddy. I'll make biscuits real quick, so I'll just roll them out and use a cutter,
yep,
and I cut them. I use the cutter, cut the biscuit out, and then I either half them or quarter them up, and then
yep.
put them in there like that, and stuff, man. And, oh
I
man,
like them dumplings that poof up real big and thick.
yeah,
I've had people tell me, "Here, I got some chicken and dumplings made." And no, it's not dumplings. That's egg noodles, y'all. That's not chicken and dumplings.
Right,
What's wrong with y'all?
right. Now, when I was a kid, my mama Ryan made chicken and rice,
Mm-hmm.
chicken and noodles. They
Yep.
were the exact same thing, but one was rice, one was
Yep.
noodles, cream of celery, cream of mushroom, cream of onion, and cream of chicken with chicken in it, right?
Yep.
And either rice or noodles. And I ain't kidding you, that stuff was so good it'd make your tongue smack your brains out.
I don't know what it is about those cream of soups. My God, those things are good. They
They
are
are.
good. Don't
They're,
use them a whole lot, but yeah, they are good.
yep, they are, and they make everything taste good. You know.
And sometimes it's just comfort food,
Yep.
things that bring you happiness,
Right.
like macaroni and cheese,
Yep.
and chicken and dumplings, and spaghetti, and homemade biscuits and gravy, or
Fried
chocolate
chicken.
gravy, or tomato gravy, and it's just a fried chicken. Oh my gracious, a
Yep.
chicken fried steak or chicken
Oh,
fried
chicken
chicken.
fingers or steak fingers.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep. And it's just like sometimes once in a while you just crave that old horrible, horrible Tony's little thin pizza like you used to get at school. Once in a
Right.
while we laugh and call them crack pizzas. Um, 99-cent pizza just brings back school memories and stuff. But there's a recipe that I want to learn. I have not found it yet. It used to be made when I was in elementary. It was always on, and I don't know why they mixed these two together. It was always on Chili Day, but it was a little like it was a dessert sandwich. The It was like chocolate wafers, like ice cream sandwich chocolate,
Right.
and then there was peanut butter and jelly on that, and then there was another it was like a mini ice cream sandwich without the ice cream.
Right.
Oh my God, that was good. I don't know what it was about that. That was good. But you always remembered what was going on at school because Friday, I don't care what was happening, the world could come to an end. There was always going to be some kind of fish stick and macaroni and cheese on a Friday.
Yep.
And we had chili, and then we had pizza, and then there was mystery meat. They'd swap it all up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I'm telling you that I liked the school breakfast pizza. That was my
Yep.
favorite. I didn't mind the lunch pizza. I mean, it's all right, you know, but I wasn't a real big fan of it. But that breakfast pizza had a different sauce, a different cheese, and daggone sausage on it. And I'm telling you what, and it was thinner though. They only made it instead of making them like this long and that thick, they were like this long and that thick, you know.
See,
So I felt like I was
no, we didn't. There was no such thing as breakfast pizza
really
when I was going to school. Oh no, you got an orange juice, you got a 2% milk, which I hated. No, back then was whole milk.
right,
As I started getting into junior high, they started the 2% crap. But it was an orange juice, either an orange, a banana, or something, and a little cup of cereal that just left you wanting more.
right. You know what?
That was breakfast.
When somebody watches this after tonight, they're gonna be like, "Them people must have smoked a joint while they were while they were talking about it." Because we ain't talking about nothing but food. The comments are filled with food. We're talking about food. I'm telling you that the times have just so changed. You know, I see a lot of things from the 80s and the 90s, and I'm like, man, I remember that. That was a good time. You know, it takes me back to that time. You know, and
hmm
and you just kind of wish you could step back there just for a little bit, you
Yeah.
know, and just relive it a little bit because those were probably some of the best times, you
Yep.
know. Uh, they were just great times, and you know, it's just like now. my kids, they hear these stories from my mom and dad and my grandparents, about how I used to, go out and sell vegetables to the community, right?
Yep.
I'd go and pick whatever they didn't pick. I'd go and pick it behind them, and then I'd take it up through the holler and I'd sell it door to door, and
Yep.
people would call and ask for more, and they hear that and they want to run and do it, and I'm like, well, I can't let you do that. I wish I could let you go from door to door, but in today's society, I can't let you because, first of all, when I was a kid, if I did something wrong before I ever got home, they already knew about it.
Yeah, they knew about it.
All the parents knew all the parents. They knew
Mm-hmm.
the numbers. If some stranger would have tried to pick me up, somebody would have been like, "Hey, you let go of that kid." You know what I mean?
Yep.
Nowadays, people
You
just
can't trust nobody.
Yeah, they took the kid. We seen him take him, but we didn't know that it wasn't anybody they didn't know. And so we live in a society that's just not conducive for them to do that. And what fun would it be to be able to take them back to a simpler time, a much simpler,
Yep.
much better time, and let them get a glimpse of how it used to be. Yeah,
Yep.
because I really think if we let them have a glimpse of how it used to be, I really do believe that they would work toward getting it back that way.
Yep.
I really do.
Because summertime, I worked my tail off. If I wanted to do anything, I was picking. Picking. There's an orchard back this way named Jones Orchard. I picked. If I wanted to go to the powwow, picked blackberries. I got paid 75 cents a quart. Now these were big, thornless blackberries. And of course, I was sick pretty much by the time I was done with that day because it's like pick three, pop one. I made 75 cents a quart. That was a lot of money back then.
Right.
Or my mama pretty much had me as a sharecropper, I think, because back then we'd go to the same orchard, pick on the halves, pick them a bushel, you got a bushel. Well, the
Right.
bad thing is she'd be sitting in the station wagon watching us, like the warden watching us picking. Uh, Purple hull peas, black eyed peas, lima beans, corn, you name it. But then we had to go home and shell or shuck everything to put it
Right.
up. But we appreciated what we had. We
That's
knew
right.
we was lucky if we got something. And be thankful for that food on the table because if you popped your mouth open one time, you was going to go hungry.
Yep.
And I learned, it took me one time to learn. Don't say that you're not going to eat something because, yeah, you're going to bed and you're going to be hungry because it's a long time till breakfast if you actually got some.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, you ate what was put in front of you and you gave thanks for that. And you gave thanks for having a roof over your head.
Yep.
There wasn't no, what is that? Allowance.
Right. Well,
No such thing as allowance. No.
let me tell you. Let me tell you a story about an allowance. Now, you might have heard this already. I'm sure some of the people watching already have. But for those of you who don't know, let me tell you a story about allowance. So it's toward the end of the school year. I think I was 12, somewhere around there. All my buddies were all talking, and I get an allowance to clean my room. I get an allowance to take the dishes and put them up. I get an allowance to take my clothes to the laundry hamper. I get an allowance to do this and do that and cut the grass and all this other stuff, right? And I'm like, wow, an allowance sounds great. I do all those things. I'm going to go ask for an allowance when I go home. So I get home and run in the house, and there's Dad standing at the kitchen sink. He's rinsing some stuff out. He was getting supper ready, and I said, Dad, can I have an allowance? Turns the water off real slow. Does something with the thing, the cup or whatever it was, puts it over in the drainer, turns around to me and does his glasses and said, what? I said, an allowance. Said, my buddies at school, they were talking about they get an allowance to do, and I'm starting to talk through all the things that my buddies say they get an allowance for. He just turns and walks out the garage door. And I'm thinking, well, that's not good because when we go out the garage door, we get a whooping. And I'm thinking, what? I'm thinking my friends have set me up, right? And so I go and I open up the garage door, and he's going outside the garage. I'm like, well, I'm not getting a whooping, so I didn't do anything wrong, But I'm thinking, why is the allowance out here, So I follow along. He goes out and he opens up the bottom of the house there, and he says, there's the weed eater, there's the weed eater gas, there's the lawnmower gas, there's the lawnmower. You can walk up and down this holler, and you can cut everybody's grass that'll let you cut it for money. He said, I'll supply the weed eater, I'll supply the lawnmower, I'll supply the gas for both of them. And you can cut all the grass you can handle and get all the money you can get. He said, but for an allowance, I give you a roof over your head, I give you clothes on your back, shoes on your feet, place to take a bath. You got TV, which is more than I had. You got video games, which is more than I had. And you got a ton of toys, which is more than I had. As far as an allowance goes, that's your allowance. You ain't getting no more. If you want more money, then you go get it. And I'll never forget that for as long as I live. And I tell them the same thing, when they come to me. You want something, you work for it. That's why when they work out in the garden with me, I say, okay, I'm not paying you, but I'll give you all the excess that we have out of the garden. And you can set out here in the front and sell it, or I'll take you to the flea market and sell it, or I'll sit beside the side of the road and sell it. And everything you sell, you can keep the money off of it for helping me out here to do this work. I said, but I'm not paying you to do it because as far as I'm concerned, you got everything you need and more, and that's your allowance.
I was a money making fool at times when I was young. I pushed of course it was safe back then.
Right.
I pushed the lawnmower around the neighborhoods, mowed grass. I cleaned out I weeded and raked and shoveled flower beds. Winter time, shoveling snow because we actually got snow back then. Yeah, if I wanted to do anything extra, I had to work if I wanted money. Money wasn't handed out free. Not at all.
No, it
now,
wasn't.
Birthday, Christmas, different story.
Right.
Any other day, no.
Right. And
not at all.
But look at who it made us. Look at the type of people it made.
I'm thankful for it.
Right, exactly.
I have morals and ethics and strong work ethics for that.
When you're made to work for something, you appreciate it. When you're given something, you don't appreciate it. There's farms around here that have been in the family since the 1800s. And you can see the ones that had to work to get the farm, and you can see the ones that were given the farm.
Yeah.
Might still be in the family either way, but some of them was just given the farm while some of them had to work to prove to daddy and mommy they could run the farm before they were given the farm. And the ones that work to get it have a great farm, runs well, it's an established place, and it does great. The ones that were given it,
they don't care.
They don't care. And it's mostly all gone downhill.
And it's heartbreaking to see. I see that happen around here too, because they'll sell it in a heartbeat.
Yep, they'll sell it in a heartbeat, or they'll just sit on it and let it go downhill.
The guy out here, orchard that we used to pick on the halves and everything. When the old man passed away, and them kids that got it are some money grubbing people I ever seen in my life. You pick the pears by the, you go pick them yourselves. We got a discount.
Right.
No, I'm not paying $5 and $6 a pound for pears that I have to go pick myself.
Right.
That's not how it works.
Right.
And they won't allow you to pick on the halves no more. I said, well, your daddy ran this place on picking on the halves.
Right.
No, we're not going to do nothing like that. It's just like the strawberries. They plant all the strawberry plants, and once the strawberry season's over, they tear them all down. They mow them up, and they plant brand new plants the next year. Yep.
How do they get strawberries off brand new little plants?
They probably buying 2, 3 year old plants. But yeah, I kid you not. They just had strawberry season, went to all the trouble to bound them up and everything. They done tore them all down. They done it last year too.
That's crazy. That's
And I'm
crazy.
sorry, pick your own strawberries shouldn't be no $6 a quart.
No, no,
I
no.
mean, a flat of strawberries. What they tell me? I think it was like $35. I'm gonna go. No, I'm good. Mm-mm.
And we can get them around here for, pretty decent price. I don't remember what it is. I think it's one of them big. Where's
It's a
the,
big flat that holds about 8 quarts.
where's the basket that looks like that one right there, empty? No, it don't matter.
And I mean, for the $35 price, you had to get out there and pick them yourself.
Yeah, I know. If we pick them ourselves around here, they're not bad at all. I can't remember what they are, but you get quite a bit of them. But yeah, it's just pitiful.
It shouldn't cost no $35.
No. There's down here at the end of the road here. There was a farm. It's a 14-acre farm. We didn't know it was for sale. Not that we would have had the money to buy it if we did, because they wanted $600,000 for it, which way overpriced. That house ain't worth over $500,000 for the 14 acres in the house, even though it's a big, nice house and has all big garage and everything. Anyways, it wasn't worth that. Most people wouldn't. That's why nobody bought it. But until that one guy did. He's not from around here. He retired from the federal prison system and wanted a farm. So his wife was the one with all the money, so she buys the farm. Now, he bought it off this old man that lived there. When we moved here, that old man had lived there for, I think, the 1940s is whenever
Probably all his life.
Yeah. And the old man ended up passing away. The wife couldn't hang on to it, and it was too much for her to do. And the kids made her sell it. And so bought it with all the equipment, all the animals, which was cows, chickens, goats, pigs, and sheep. All right. Had everything on there. 14 acres. It was a running farm. It was making money. Within 2 months, there was no goats, no cows, no sheep, no pigs, and I thought no chickens, but he kept enough chickens to get a discount. He gets his tax write-off for the chickens. He's still making enough from that to get a tax write-off. This summer, there was a white fence, a 1x6 white fence all the way around the property, 3-rail white fence all the way around that property. He tore it all down. 14 acres around that property, all of it down now. Because he couldn't drive a tractor well enough to keep the brush hog from hitting it.
Oh, my gracious.
Yeah. So now he has just devalued that farm that much more.
Mm-hmm.
Stop to ask if you could have the boards, because the boards were still in great shape. The old man would go out there. If the board would fall, he'd go out there and put the board back up.
Yep.
This guy hit a couple of them that fell down. He took the whole fence down. Asked for some of the boards because I needed them. I could have built beds out of them. I could have built a new chicken coop out of them that I need to build. I could have done a ton of things with them. No, ain't getting rid of them. He took them down to the bottom of the field, stacked them high.
Burnt. Yep. I don't like people like that. I do not like people like that.
No.
They don't appreciate nothing.
Nothing. Wants to be a farmer. Can't farm nothing. Ain't no kind of farmer. Runs up and down the road on a side-by-side all day with a side-by-side that says farm use on it. What are you doing? You know?
That's not a farmer.
No. He called. I cut hay with a bunch of guys. Love cutting hay. Don't know what it is about it, but it's fun. And he called one of the guys that I cut hay with and told him, said, you got a lion, a tiger, and a water buffalo down here in my pasture loose, and I want them animals gone out of here. That's what he called and told him. He said, buddy, I ain't got none of them animals. He said, well, by God, you do. I'm looking at them. He said, either you're joking or you're high because I ain't got no water buffalo, tiger, or a lion. He calls him back 3 days later and says, I'm sorry, I was on a drunken stupor. Yeah.
He better check his medication because that was more than just any beer.
Yeah.
That was more than beer. I'm telling you that right now.
So he was all jacked up. But that's the kind of, I mean, you got a farm, you paid more than what it was worth to be a farmer. And when you bought that for $600 and some $1,000, that everybody around here says that farm running was about $400 max, $400,000 max running, right? And they said that was pushing it, but he bought it way overpriced. When he bought it for that, he made everybody's farm around here go up in value.
Yep.
And now he has it to where it's not even a workable farm. You made everybody else's taxes go up because you paid an outrageous price for it, and now you ain't even farming.
Yep. See, that's the people that aggravate me so much. There's so many people that have all these wonderful farms, this acreage, and they don't have the common sense God gave an earthworm.
Right.
They have all this, and they could be doing so much, but they don't appreciate what they have.
Nope.
And there's people like me and Junior who would give anything. We're praying eventually for 100 acres in BFE.
Right.
Yes, BFE. I want to be away from people.
Yep.
Not that, just want some privacy.
Yep, me too.
And I'd be doing all kinds of things with not destroying it, but, I'd be able to do what I want in privacy and everything. And people have all this wonderful stuff, and they don't have common sense.
Nope.
Common sense is so rare anymore. You better believe on 14 acres, I could still do not as much as I'd want to, but I'd be self-sufficient on 14 acres.
Yep.
I just have to be really iffy about the cow.
Right.
Because one cow needs at least 1 acre alone.
Yep.
If you're going to get milk.
Yep.
You need more than that, actually, so you can transfer them around. So,
I just had that conversation.
Down, when one part's ate down, they can move over until the other one gets grown back up.
Yep.
But, yeah.
I just had that conversation with my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law is down there, and he thinks he's going to be able to move a bunch of cows on this, 1 acre, maybe I'd say it's about an acre, maybe a little over an acre, but right around an acre lot. It might be an acre and a half, maybe an acre and a half. And then I was like, you're not going to run cows here, man. You're just not. It's down there where I metal detect at my mother-in-law's house. And I was like, you're not going to be able to run cows here. There's not enough room. I was like, 1 cow needs an acre. I was like, you're not going to run more than 1 cow here. And I was like, even if you did, I was like, you don't have enough because you're talking about running them in plots. I was like, let's say you start out with a plot that's 4 foot high.
Mm-hmm.
By the time that cow eats it down to about 1 foot high and you move it on to the next piece of property to eat down, that 4 foot might be, 6 foot. But by the time you let it eat back down to 1 foot, you ain't going to have 4 foot again over there on the other. I was like, you're going to be working against yourself constantly. I was like, there's not enough room here. Oh, well, I think there is. We'll work it out.
And most of the time, them cows ain't going to graze on that tall stuff because it's hard. It's hard for them to chew.
Right.
They have to,
you just can't tell people.
2 foot's pushing it.
Right.
But anything 2 foot and under, that many cows, you just want an equipped lawnmower job.
Right.
And then you're going to, bring, if you brought them in the morning, be prepared to load them up in the evening because they're done.
Right, exactly. I told him, I said, if you put one here, I was like, it's too wet. They're going to have a lot. They're heavy. They trample stuff.
Yep.
It's too wet down in this bottom. I was like, you'll have root, hoof rot and all kinds of other stuff. And
Yep.
some people though, you just cannot tell anything. I told him when he went to go get pigs. I told him, I said, he's like, I'm gonna get these pigs, I'm gonna get these dew rocks, and I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that, and I'm gonna have this bloodline, I'm gonna have that, and they're selling for $600 a pig, and I said, you ain't gonna get that here. You're not gonna get $600 a pig here. You might get that in Pennsylvania where you bought it from, but you ain't getting it here. Try to tell him about the pigs. Didn't listen about the pigs. I told him, man, you just listen to me. If you want to get pigs, get this type of pig or that type of pig. But stay away from these certain pigs. They're too big, too heavy, too much mess, and didn't listen. They had all this big plan. They was going to be breeding pigs and doing this, and that, and the other. Ain't got no pigs now.
I admit now, Durock's mighty fine.
Right.
And mighty good tasting.
They are.
That's your ham pigs there.
They are. They're good.
Pigs.
But
the ones I've been watching that I've been kind of leaning to, and they're expensive though. But they're the Idaho pasture pigs.
Yep, those are good.
They are grazers.
Yep.
Now, the one good thing about them that I found out that I like is they usually don't root at all. So you don't have to worry much about that. They're grass grazers.
Right.
But the minute that they start rooting, they need what is that? Copper. They need a copper bolo dose in their mouth of minerals. After they get that, they're fine. So that's an easy pig.
Right.
That way okay, they're not getting the minerals they need. Let's give them that bolo shot. Well, not shot, but dose in their mouth. And they're fairly gentle. Whole lot gentle.
We've got coonies.
Yeah.
And they're a great little pig, they're nice. We love them. Yeah, they are pretty pricey, but I tell you what, as soon as we have a litter, I can hook you up if you need some.
Now I heard that the coonies take a little longer to develop.
They do. They're a little bit longer. Now Wilbur, I really believe it just kind of depends on what bloodline. I think there are some that I have seen here. Wilbur, he blew up, got big fast. But Violet is slowly growing. She's not now. I think some of that is because Petunia is the boss pig in there, and I think she's just a bully and bullies them all out of food, and that's what I think. And if it was left up to me, we'd be eating Petunia right now. But some people think that Petunia's a pet and wants to sell Petunia. So if you need a pig, hit me up. We got one for you. So, but no, I think coonies are really good. They're gentle. They're fun. They're a good pig. I mean, if you guys go over to Hematite Homestead and watch his stuff, Hematite Homestead deals strictly with cooney pigs.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna tell you, he does a lot on breeding them, on raising them. Farrowing them, giving them shots, everything they need. He takes care of all that stuff, all the way up to the table. I mean, he takes you from baby all the way through to the table, and he starts showing you how to smoke them, how to cure them, how to have charcuterie or whatever it's called through them, all kinds of stuff.
I ain't all that fancy.
Yeah, I love. Well, I mean, he don't get fancy about it. I mean, but he makes food.
No, I'm just saying I don't have time because I'm thinking about there's the hams, there's pork chops, there's pork loin, and all that. I'm out for the main meat. But no, luckily my daddy taught me how to clean and butcher just about everything there is.
Right.
Nothing, like over in Africa or nothing like that, but any wildlife around America, any farm animals, I know how to clean it. And the good thing about the smaller pigs, worst case scenario, you can use a come along up in a barn if you got the rafters strong enough. Come along the pig up there and clean it.
Right.
or if you've got a tractor with a good strong uh, front bucket, you can fix it, hang it up. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
that's the good thing about the smaller pigs.
Right. Well, and when you can fit them in your freezer a little easier too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So especially if you do halves. Yeah.
Yep.
Because I made halves out of chili mac. I
Mm-hmm.
turned him into two. Well, I actually quartered.
Now I heard they were good about having lard on them.
They are. Coonies are good for lard. They
Mm-hmm.
are. And we had quite a bit of lard out of chili mac. Of course, chili mac was not a full blood Cooney. So
Mm-hmm.
I think he had a lot of pot belly in him. But
Yeah, I've cleaned and cooked a couple potbelly pigs before.
yeah,
They have a different taste. It's not bad.
no, it's not
It's just something you're not really used to, but
right.
still
But,
good.
yeah,
And I was cooking that over a big fire, and I was using a pitchfork to flip it. So
we took chili mac, made him in quarters because he was too long to fit into halves. So I cut him straight in the middle. Had his backs, two backs and then two fronts, and split the rib cage. And each end had a rib cage, part of the rib cage. But anyways, we cooked him up for Memorial Day last year, 4th of July last year, and something else last year. And then I still got a quarter of him out there. I need to go ahead and fix up. But I mean, it tasted great. Everybody liked it. Nobody thought, and all I did was built a big old center block pit and had a great big old stainless steel grate. Put that down, and center blocks around that, and smoked him. Cooked him on there, and it was really good. We all enjoyed that pig several different times.
Yeah, I'm laughing about that. About learning, don't name your animals you are going to eat. I have no problem doing that.
I don't either. It ain't nothing but
that animal. It's when I'm raising it. Oh, little ducks.
Got two new ones. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. These bows have hatched since we've been online. We don't know where we're getting this white from. We don't have any white ducks at all.
It could be a genetic throwback.
It has to be, because we have no white ducks at all. We have Harlequin ducks. We had a Swede, black Swede, but a fox got him the other night, so Daddy has to be fox hunting in the next few nights. But we have the Harlequins, the Welsh Harlequins. What was that other one we have? We had the Swede, but he usually marks them pretty well if they're Swedes. Yeah, you can tell they're a black Swede mix. It was what's them two? What was the twins? The two male twins. What were they? I can't remember. Anyhow, there's no white duck. But for months now, we've been getting white ducks, and then we get this weird looking cross that is black with how most hens look, the wild Drake looking hens.
Yeah.
They got those weird looking patterns on them. Well, we're getting that, but they're black. Weird looking
genetic throwbacks.
Weird looking ducks. And
or the genetics are having fun with one another, trying to figure out, what am I supposed to look like?
Right. I mean, it's gotten nuts around here. So I'm just like, if we let that breed to that and that breed to that, man, and we're trying to figure it out, because I'm going to come up with a new duck, and we're going to call it the broom straw duck. Yeah, because we live on broom straw, so we're going to call it the broom straw duck.
I love duck eggs.
I do. Duck eggs are good.
The duck eggs. Oh my
Goose
God,
eggs.
they make the best cakes.
Yep.
They are good for baking. And see, I can eat duck eggs and not get sick. Chicken eggs kind of make me sick.
Oh, man.
I have a slight allergy to. Hey, I eat them anyway.
Right.
The one good thing about having that egg allergy, I can never be forced to get the flu shot.
There you go.
Because they're all based in egg whites.
So we also got some quails, but they're not hatching yet. We got
best thing I ever had.
Didn't we? Huh?
with some deviled quail eggs. Oh, somebody brought some deviled quail eggs to the Herb Society meeting. Those best things, let me tell you, those were good.
Really? I'm gonna have to try that out.
You make them just like you would regular deviled eggs,
Right?
the mix, and then stuff them. Oh my God, that was good.
I'm gonna try that out. That sounds good.
Oh,
But
it
yep,
was.
we've got 37 quail eggs, I think, going. We already hatched out several quail. Yeah, our quail are doing real good. In fact, I'm almost to where I'm like, hey, can we get rid of some of these chickens that I don't like, and we'll just keep more quail. They're faster. You get your rate of return around a lot quicker, and they don't eat nearly as much feed.
Well, when you want to get rid of them chickens, you know what you do? Freezer camp.
Yep, eat them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they're big enough to eat, because I'm gonna tell you what, some of them hens, they're not big enough. They just don't seem like they're getting fat.
Well, stock pot.
There's a week old one,
Oh,
and this one here's 2 days old. So a week right there in that hand, and 2 days old in that hand.
oh, those are pretty.
Yeah, those are our quail. We got a bunch of different colors.
Which
We
kind
got
do you have?
cotter, however you say that, Courtnix, or however you say
Okay,
it.
you
Yeah,
got quail.
yeah. It's Coturix. I know how to spell it, but I don't know how to say it.
Cortnix, or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Is that the ones that get really big, or do they stay small?
I don't. Ours is several months. Lord, they're
Because I know
they're
there's
at least
some.
6 months old, and they're not very big. They're very
I know
tame.
there's some that get huge,
Yeah,
and I'm
these
like,
are real
God,
tame. They come right up to us, and we can touch them and pet them and all kinds of stuff. Um, the ones we had before were bob whites, and they get a little bit bigger, I think, than these do. But
mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. But I like how fast they are, because within 6 to 8 weeks, you're getting eggs and you can butcher them.
There you go.
You
Now,
know?
now you're talking.
Yeah.
Quick return.
Yep. Very quick return.
Now I've heard some can be really mean.
Ours
But
are
you
real
got
tame.
you're lucky because I know I heard one person, one channel had to get rid of most of their quail because they were mean. They had turned mean, but it was he said it was genetics.
Right. Yeah, they can be mean to each other. We had a
Mm-hmm.
pheasant out there ate the buttholes out of all of her siblings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pheasants are mean.
And Jennifer said that guineas never shut up. They sure don't. We got a buttload of
Oh,
those
I
too.
love guineas. I absolutely love guineas. You'll never have nobody come up on your property or any
That,
critter.
that's very
You're going
true.
to know.
But
You're
but
going
I
to know
tell
if
you what,
something's coming up or if it's flying around or coming up the driveway.
they won't stay where I want them.
Mm-hmm.
They're stupid. They'll go outside the fence, and then they'll start running the fence, and it's like you
Yep.
flew over the fence to get over there. Now fly back, and they'll run it and run it and run it and run it and run it like idiot. Then you go to chase them,
Turkeys are the
and they
same
fly
way.
back over. What is it?
Turkeys are the same way. They will
Oh,
do
I
the
know. I got
same thing.
turkeys. Yeah, I got.
I love turkeys. Now, my daddy, I laughed at him because we were still living in the city. And we had, back then, we also had one of the chain link big dog pens outside, but
Right.
it was the older kind that actually had the chain link on top. And he got a wild hair and bought this turkey. And he swore to us that he'd have that turkey big before Thanksgiving. Now, it was like just a hair over a month before Thanksgiving. Oh my God, that man! All he done was fed that turkey water, day old bread because he could get bread for free,
Right.
and corn chops or chopped corn. In a month's time, that was the biggest turkey we ever saw. It hung over the roasting pan. We had the aluminum foil line the whole oven. We like to not got the turkey in the oven. It was that big, but that was the best tasting turkey.
Right.
He fattened that turkey up like nothing.
I got one out there that will bowl over everybody like it's a football player. If anybody goes out there with feed, and you can literally dump the feed out, and she'll sit there and eat, and go down 5 feet and dump the feed out, and everybody that gets there around that feed, she'll come through like a football player and knock them all down like
A
bowling
wrecking
pins.
ball.
Yep, just knocks them all down, and she done got so fat she runs like this, and her legs are getting swollen up and stuff, and
Yeah.
I hate it because I didn't know when we got her that she was a broad breast, which is one that's kind of like a Cornish cross, right? You they'll get so big you'll eventually die
because they get breast heavy.
Right. And I watched her today. She ate so much that her daggone craw was hanging down like
I've
this.
seen it before, yes.
And I said, you look at that bird. I said, she's done ate so much. I said, she's still pacing the fence like, where's my food?
Yep.
I said, I ain't never. But yeah. When
they're eating machines. That's all. Unfortunately, that's what they're bred for, and it's sad.
It is. I should have known though, because when she was a baby, she tried to eat my ring. I got a video where she was picking nuts and bolts out of my hand trying to eat them. And I had to grab her by her neck and shake her and say, no, don't eat that. She was going to swallow that whole.
They are eating machines and they will eat anything. And it's truly sad.
It is.
I mean, I watch, there's a channel I watch where they do Cornish cross.
Yeah.
And they're just eating machines.
Yep, they are.
And that's all they know. And it's sad.
They'll eat. We had some that the kids got really attached to, so I didn't kill them. And they got so big. Now, mind you, I fed them like the regular chickens. I didn't put more feed out there for them. I fed them like the regular chickens. If they didn't get enough to eat, too bad. They got fed what the regular ones got fed. I wasn't going to feed them more and kill them that much faster. And they got so big just eating regularly like the other chickens that you'd go out there and their combs would be turning purple and blue from heart failure, you know? And I mean, that was not feeding them heavy.
No.
That was feeding them, and they still done that. So you can only imagine, it is sad that they done that like that. But we've been on here for almost 3 hours. I'm gonna have to
I like to talk.
I do too. But I'm gonna have to get these kids in bed.
I understand you got family to take care of them. You got little ones. I definitely understand.
But is there anything that you wanted to mention tonight that you don't think you got out there?
Only thing I could think of is the Let's Do It for Junior that Homestead Aquarius had started. We're trying to raise funds for everybody, just to send $1.
Right.
If everybody sent $1, that would be amazing. Other than that, I could keep talking. I got plenty more I can talk about.
Hey, I can send you an updated version, and we can have you back on because it has been
I would love it.
It has been a real joy having you on this evening. So I'll send you an updated list, and we'll get you to come back on.
I'd love to.
Between now and the beginning of the year, whenever you want it. Because it has been real fun. It's been a real good night, and we've had a lot of good people in here with us tonight.
Yeah.
I thank them for coming.
I missed everybody. I was too busy talking, and I get focused on talking, and I should have been reading the comments.
I get tied up too. I try to keep an eye on it to see if there's anything like directed towards us, to make sure we answer it. But I haven't seen any of that just yet. Most of us just kind of talking with us,
Yep.
So it's been really, really good. It's been a good night, and we've had a lot of fun. We're gonna have to get you to come back on and talk more.
I'm more happy to come back. I have enjoyed myself.
I'm glad you have. That's the whole point of doing this is to just bring the community together, have fun doing it, and just make those bonds a little tighter, right? To where,
Yes, absolutely.
because that's
And
what we
hopefully
need.
to encourage people to become more self-sufficient and do it healthier.
Absolutely,
Don't
absolutely.
don't stock or prep back junk food.
Right, because there
And
are ways
think
to
like our ancestors. What did they live on back in the day?
well,
Beans, rice, flour, sugar, salt. Yeah, all the good stuff.
right. Well, here's the thing: did they have cancers back then?
No. Mm-mm.
You know,
Now,
I
another thing, everything's bad for you. Lard, fat, bacon, eggs, coffee, all that's bad for you. You know the difference from now and then back then? Well, there's two differences. Food was cleaner back then. The main difference was those people worked their tails off. They didn't know what being lazy was. They worked from sun up to sundown.
right,
And
exactly.
they relaxed a little bit at sundown.
Yep.
And
You
then they
know,
went to bed.
it reminds me of the movie Grumpier Old Men.
Yep. And
When
I've
when
seen that one.
when the daddy was sitting there and the son comes over and he says, "Pops, you all right? It's bad for your health," because he brought him a light beer. That's what it was. And the daddy drank it and he says, like that, "What is this? Light beer. What is that?" He's like, "Supposed to be healthier for you, Pops." He says, "I eat bacon for breakfast. I smoke a pack and a half of cigarettes a day." He said, "Healthy." He was like, "You know what I eat for breakfast?" And he's like, "Bacon." He said, "That's right, bacon. I eat 5 strips of bacon." "You know what I eat for lunch?" "Bacon." "Yeah, yeah, yeah. A whole plate of bacon." He was like, "You know what I have for dinner?" He was, "Bacon." He's like, "No, I generally drink my dinner." And he
Yep.
holds up that light beer. He said, "This is garbage." He said, "By their account of these know-it-all doctors, I should have took a dirt nap 30 years ago. But
Yep.
here I am, still kicking." You know,
Mm-hmm.
I really back then I just thought it was funny, but that is true. Most
Yeah.
of those old guys ate like that. They drank like they smoked
And
like
the
that.
women did too.
Right.
The women
And
did too.
they didn't die because everything they didn't have garbage in the cigarettes. It was
Yep.
just roll your own
Straight
cigarettes.
tobacco.
Right.
Straight tobacco. They either chewed it or smoked it.
Right. Their beer wasn't chock full of all kinds of whatever's in that crap nowadays, right?
They drank moonshine.
Right, exactly. They made their own, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Everything was homemade.
yeah, and then they ate their own food, their own bacon, So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they lived longer than we did.
Yep.
He probably croaked because he had to start. He got too old and had to depend on the
Yep.
stores for his cigarettes and for his pigs and for his beer.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why he died at 90. I don't remember how old he was in that movie, like 94 or something.
Yeah, he was old.
Yeah,
But yeah, back then people lived long lives unless, woman in childbirth or horrible accident with the men. They lived
yep,
long lives
yep,
because they worked. The
yep.
food was clean, the water was clean, didn't have all the poisons in it. It was a big difference.
Yes,
And
it is.
people appreciated things more.
That's right. They did. They absolutely did. So I'm going to go through who we got next week. Sorry about that. Um, live stream dates. July 18th next week. We have Travis Ginger and Extreme Gardening coming on, and we're going to give you guys a mid-season update on where our giant pumpkins and giant stuff is. So I'm nowhere near where Travis is at, but you'll get to see that next week if you're interested in the giant stuff. You'll get to hear how our year is going with using extreme gardening. If you're not using it, guys, I'm not trying to push it on you, but if you want to get your microbes up in your soil, you should be using extreme gardening. And we do have I think a link. I think if you did, I think we got one. I can't remember. But anyhow, if you need a link, I can get you a link. With the Azos, Mycos, and their Versity is some really good stuff that really does help your soil. If you're growing organic and you want those microbes helping your plants, you need this stuff. It does work. It does help, and I can show you proof after proof after proof around my yard. Then on July 25th, we got Timber Creek Farmer coming on. August 1st, we have Enoch Graham from the Urban Gardener coming on. August 8th, we have Acorn Creek Farmstead coming on. August 15th, we have Tony from Wakefield Biochar. Another great thing to be using is biochar in your soil. It really does make a difference. I'm blown away by just how much of a difference it does make in growing out here. I've got stuff with it. I got stuff without it. And there is an absolute difference in size of what I've grown for sure. So if you need to, you can get it through them, or you can make your own.
See, what I do, a lot of people don't know, I go get the bags because I read the labels, make sure there's no chemicals in it. Lump charcoal, same thing as biochar.
Yep. Just crush it up.
Take a sledgehammer and a cinder block.
Or try to find damaged bags of it.
Yep.
From the stores, and usually they'll give you a discount. I'll try to remember that, Gardening Warrior Q. Then on August 22nd, we have Ange Fierro Fanning Homestead. I hope I pronounced that right. Big channel there on Instagram. August 29th, we have Jesus Loving Homestead coming on. We have Nathan and Carmen from there coming on. Another great one from Instagram as well. Nicole Smith Gardening coming on September 5th. September 12th, we have Chase from Trophy Smack coming on. They're the ones that sponsored the belt for the YouTube challenge this year for growing a giant pumpkin. And then we have Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. Sandy will be coming on from there on September 19th. September 26th is our next available date. If anybody wants to come on, you can email me, babydrill2119@yahoo.com. Again, September 26th is the next open date. October 3rd, we have Lisa from Yogi Hollow Farm coming on. Then October 10th all the way through December 26th is open. Guys, if you want in before the end of the year, highly recommend that you get in touch with me and let me know. I have several that are waiting to give me a date. All right. I've already contacted them. They want to come on. I'm just waiting for them to give me a date to fill them in. So the dates aren't full, but they are full in a way. All right. And I want to keep them that way. I want to keep them coming. I don't care how big your YouTube channel is. I don't care if you got a million subscribers or you got one subscriber. Mm-hmm. If you do something interesting, you're making videos about homesteading, about gardening, about anything that pertains to us being self-sufficient people, I want you on my channel. I'd love to have you on. Love to have you back on, Teresa.
I would love to be back. I have enjoyed myself. Shoot me the email and I'll see what dates will work for me.
Yes, ma'am. I sure will.
Now, of course, depending on Junior and what goes on with Junior,
absolutely,
we might have to swap up. But
totally understandable, and I understand that. But and like I told you before, we'll accommodate you however we can to get you on because you are a lot of knowledge that people need to have.
Thank you, and I love sharing it. I love helping as many people as possible.
Yes,
because
ma'am.
We're in this together, like it or not.
That's right. That is right. Together. That's right. We certainly are.
And so, guys, better to unite than separate.
Absolutely. But guys, look, if you want on, I want to have you on. Email me, babydrill2119yahoo.com. We'll get you on here. We'll get you on the list. As soon as this fills up, I'm not touching this thing again. I'm not going to ask anybody until like November, December. All right. I'm trying to get it full as fast as I can so I can just kind of skate by on cruise control for the rest of the year and not have to chase down people and get them on. All right. But I do this because I think it's really important to get different people on, different perspectives, different genres, whatever you want to call it. Right. We all do something different, right? We're all part of the same body. Some of us are fingers, some of us are toes, some of us are legs. All right, whatever we got, but all of us have a part, and I want you guys to come on. So if any of you in the chat want to come on, or any of you that watch us in the future want to come on, go on ahead and email me, and we'll get you set up with a date. But guys, it's been such a wonderful time having her on here this evening, and we've really enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for coming on. If you'll just hang on, I'll end this, and then me and you'll finish up on the other side of it.
Okay.
But guys, again,
Good night, everyone.
good
Hoot,
night.
hoot.
Yes, and we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time right here in the Hollers and Hills of West Virginia. See you guys.
Y'all have a blessed evening.
That's right.